Gibberers, gibberettes, soccer. This is the year. This is the year we win 50K and we go to Vegas, mate. And how do I know that, Sock? My summer spreadsheet, it told me so. Knock, knock, knock. Who's that at the door? Oh, AFP? No. Not me, officer. I was only serious about winning the comp until round 6. I'm a head-to-head player now. But speaking of summer, Sock, what a summer it has been. Some of us have been training the house down at Sippy Downs and aren't on the pod yet. Some of us have been deep-throating Betty's Burgers. Shout out to them for putting my name on the box. And some of us are doing the spinneroonie in a shower. And whilst we did these things, Your Honour, we did it in our own homes. My home, so lovely that the next door neighbour still has scaffolding up 4 years into living in the place. Sock's home, so lovely that his noisy roommates are anti-orgy. And Seven's home is so lovely that his roommates put AFL on the telly. Now, none of our listeners will know what the fuck we're talking about. They won't be able to relate to that. But Soccer, let me tell you, mate, one thing that we can all relate to is how good is it to have rugby league back on the telly. And Sock, and I'm sure you'll agree with this next point, how bloody good are Latinas? You're the defending champ. I'll start with you, mate. How was your preseason, buddy?
Mate, my pre-season was full of ups and downs. I've gone back to the workshop and I've tried to reinvent the wheel. I've given up nicotine, so 30 days without nicotine. The fingernails gone, fraught with anxiety, and not just because Nat Butcher's been moved to the bench this week, and Fletcher Sharp's out with a knee injury, sending 1.1 million of my cap down the gurgler. Mate, it's been a great off season. Yeah, we're feeling good. We're alive. We're feeling something again, which, as you always tell me, is the main thing. We're feeling something. The footy's back. I'm ready to go. I'm locked in. I'm here to come not once but twice and collect the cash. Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm feeling good, feeling loose, feeling happy to be back. The shirt is off. The stream is on, and we're ready to party. How about you? When I can see you in the green and gold jersey there, your baggy green. How was your summer of Sri Lankan cricket?
Listen, mate, my summer was great. I love my cricket. I love my rugby league. But what's going to ruin my winter is we don't fix out this mic situation because there is some filthy viewers in the chat that sound like sounds like you're doing a Pilates class in a burqa again, mate. So let's fix that one up.
Rip off the goddamn fucking tinfoil.
Nah, it's still shit. It's still shit. Just bear with us, gibberers and gibberettes, loyal listeners, as we go through some teething issues. Listen, this is round 1. We're just feeling ourselves out. This is the equivalent of getting faded in round 1. We've just been given a couple of bad 6 again calls early. 7 hasn't even made the jump. I mean, we'll address the elephant. Where's the elephant? Address me. That is DJ7 in this regard. Sock now has a tinfoil tiara on. But listen, let's test that mic quality again, mate. Give us a bit of a pipe bomb.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, winner? How am I sounding? Any good? Good?
Where's your microphone input coming on? Sorry, this is real behind the scenes stuff here, guys.
How about that one? Can you hear me now?
Chat, can we just get like a yes or no regarding Sock's audio quality, please?
What about this one?
All I'm getting is he's a pretty princess. It's shit. I mean, it was fucking fine before you put the bloody tinny on, mate. Which maybe says something, but now I can't hear anything. You're muted. This is an absolute rugby league disgrace. Apologies to all of our viewers as we work through these early punches in the face. He's gone off the rugby league deep end. This is the equivalent of owning Jermaine Hopgood, potentially even having the VC on him, and him getting binned within an inch of his life within the first 30 seconds of the season. I've lost one host. One host hasn't even made the cut. The other can't even speak. Let's see if this bloke actually has anything about him. Boys. Seven, can you please save?
Such is the round 1 debacle, boys, that I couldn't quite find the foil, but I felt a bit naked going in without the tinny. So Sometimes you craft what you can.
Oh man.
Welcome,
We're
boys.
back.
Welcome. It's so good
We're
to see
back.
you. Turns out
it's
updated.
it ain't big me, it's the big three. Seven, we just regaled each other's story of our preseason. Would you like to talk us through what's been happening north of the border?
Mate, let me first of all take you back to last year. I recoil in my condom dressed head. 6 weeks out, I've got the boys on toast. Sam, the hedonistic demon lord, the snip, the people's champ.
Yep.
About 700 points adrift. I actually called up Sportsbet one night to maybe, take a knee and fall on my own sword, and they actually suspended the market on him. He was that far fucking gone with zero trades. -7, and then watching Sock come home with a wet sail to ride in the coattails of Reece Walsh, and me riding the flailing carpet of Phil Sammy. Great finish from Sock, and then since then the profits have been putting in work. It's year 2. They say that year 2 syndrome sometimes, but lessons learned from the first season. We've been training the house down up here at Sippy Downs, and that was showed in week 1. 1352, top score on the board. We'll get to that later, but
we will. Yeah,
the boys in Sippy Down, we've been putting in works. Hence the name Seven's Profits. We're back with a vengeance. Life is good north of the border, my boys.
As I'm sure you'd understand, DJ7, the artist formerly known as DJ7, now known as Prophet. You caught a couple of strays, given that you didn't make the jump tonight. Would you like to address the fact that you had Aussie Rules telly on your television the other day, please?
Yeah, I will. I've been charged with a grade 2, grievance against the game. Valid. It's tough, man, living with this is where I get a bit drawn. Living with a new roommate, big AFL fan. Where my soft spot is, he's also doing his first ever year for AFL Supercoach. Now, while I don't condone AFL, I condone someone getting into Supercoach. So if he needs to do a bit of studying in round 0, I can share a bit of the TV. That's probably about his only saving grace. But
that's what they call it, round 0. Can you believe it, boys? What is
get a load of this as well. Talk about getting a look at your players. Round 0 does not count. Lockout does not start during real games. Crock of shit.
Heavy shit. Boys, it's good to see the both of you. What an absolute treat. Soccer, you'll be seeing plenty of me this weekend, and all of our loyal listeners and listenerettes will be seeing all 3 of us get into our work at the Meriton in about 7 rounds time. The magic
live stream from the Meriton, Brisbane, I think. 24-hour live stream.
Live stream.
Before we get into the show.
Sorry, boys.
Sorry, our timing's off. It's all good. It's all good. It's round 1.
Can you guys hear me again? Can you guys hear me yet?
Just for any of the Jimmers that down
the show,
last year's transfer going down.
Yeah, we're all over the shop. Just before we get into the show, boys, just like to throw it over to the chat early. There's a couple of comments that have filtered through, if you don't mind me sharing, so we can react, I guess. First one comes from the GOAT. 7, your GOAT, my GOAT, Max Smart, also known as Max Smart Media on YouTube. Yeah. How are you, boys? Maxie, we're great. We're great because you're here. 7, we were actually speaking about this the other day. Bryden Max, a voice of safety, a voice of reason, and a man that has he talks to Timmy. So that's good for him, I guess. We have Hand Dog Hog reaching out, who says, "Great to see you, Hand on Hog. I'm ready to edge to Socko's dulcet tones once again as I nail another one into the headboard. Any off-season gents, is he still distributing illegals for sale? Sock, would you like to address the allegations?"
Mate, no, look, long retired from that life. I'm now just, I've cashed in my 1,600 in Supercoach winnings for last year, and mate, I'm living the good life. But look, more than happy to help you get to wherever you need to go. So hopefully my dulcet tunes can keep you warm this winter.
Fantastic. Just to get a bit more of a pulse check of the comments, if you don't mind, boys. We've got Dr. Faraj reaching out. His knob has a couple of, well, not even issues. What it wouldn't give, to be fair, without any enhancement. Reese Lawson, shout out to you, one of the great names. Noah the Arc Chat incoming. Oh, don't you worry, sir. I'm the only one out of the three of us that had the guts to play him. Cliffy Stone chimes in, 80 for president. Yes, sir. We will get to that. Snickmas says, Jesus Christ, what I'm watching. Great question. We ask ourselves the same thing. What are we doing? Cam Wynn, Craig Smith type emoji reactions. Big Dan, welcome back, lads. Tell you what, there's a lot of love for the big three out there, isn't there? Does that make you feel something, Seven?
Yeah, surprised. Sometimes I see 10 streams and I think, what the fuck are you cunts doing? You got nothing better else to do. But boys, welcome back. Plenty of more dribble to come this year. And may I say, just going back to the big thicky comment on Sock, you look an absolute dream tonight in that crown as well, mate. So that plus the dulcet tones, you boys were in for a treat, an absolute treat.
And just to wrap the first segment here, Cam Wynn chimes in, trying to explain the unexplainable. Where the hell was Seven for the first 10 minutes? And he alleges that you got confused and started using your tinfoil as a cone piece. I would not put that past you. Maybe not Sippy down 7, but certainly Mount Cola 7. He would. He knows his way around a little bit of aloe.
I won't go too much into the lay, boys, but came home, opened up the laptop bag, which hasn't been since in the podcast last season, to find it full of cat piss. So a bit rattled for the first 10 minutes, but we're here now, boys, and we're back. We're back.
We are back, and I'll tell you who else is back this year: the Gibberers League. And I just want to start the pod, boys. Well, continue the pod, I guess, by giving a shout out to the top 5 in the league so far this season. A special shout out and potentially a round of applause from the lads here to Double Baggers, coached by Benny, with 1504, the only gibberer or gibberette to crack the 1500 in round 1. So well done to you, Benny. Good shit. The rest of the top 5 is rounded out by these legends: Big Hitters, coached by Samuel; Double O Dan, coached by, well, you could probably guess it, boys, Dan. Then you have Alvici, coached by Alvin, potentially a reference to the late, great EDM DJ Avicii Sock. And then rounding out the top 5, I'm happy this guy rounded out the top 5 because it's one of the great names, one we can all relate to, at 3 a.m. when we haven't slept for a couple of days and we get YouTube and we get the highlights on. The team's name is Sweet Chin Music by Samuel.
Man up for our own heart.
What's that score rounding out the top 5? What are we looking to squeeze into the Gibberers 5 in there?
High 1490s, mate. So the aforementioned, we're all 1495 and above. And listen, if it's not us, it's them that's taking home the 50K and putting it up their nose in Vegas next year.
Thus continuing the tradition of our round 1 organisation. I'll probably have to get that league code off you boys. We'll organise that post show. Didn't actually realise it was running this year.
Reese Lawson chimes in again for the second time tonight. How about a shout out to the bottom 5? Well, I guess that means that you were in the bottom 5, son, and Cliffy was not far behind you. So shout out to you, boys. Hey, listen, it's a long season. You've just got pumped in the first week. But like Parramatta Eels and Douglas MacArthur, you will return. Before we get into the show, boys, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Gibberers WhatsApp chat. It's been absolutely flying this preseason. The two of you aren't exactly overly active in there because you like to live your lives and be outside, and that's your choice, I guess. But the Gibberers have been training the absolute rugby league house down this preseason. There's been so much good intel with thoughts, with non-rugby league thoughts. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone. It's been really entertaining to be a part of, and we've built a nice little community there, guys. And as we said before, it'd be lovely to share a cap or a beer with you all up at Magic Round. I will just say that the preseason challenge champion lads, from again you guys not being there in the day-to-day, and it will come as no surprise to the preseason challenge champion is in the Gibbers. None other than our friend Keefe.
Come on!
Let's go, Keefe.
I'll tell you what, you think James Harden, the Houston Rockets, had a high usage rate. Keefe, mate, he has absolutely peppered the chat with his thoughts, his teams, his trades, his musings, and yeah, it's just been one of the great preseasons. So shout out to Keefe for training the house down.
Raise quickly, just Oh, sorry, just quickly, Reese. I was going to wondering, do you remember, Gus Gould used to romance on the mic. He used to romance one young Keith Galloway. And he'd be like, Keithy, no! I'm just wondering if we can get that hot, put over, a scrolling of Keithy highlights in the Gibberish chat. I mean, it's what the fans want.
Just a little.
They do.
I'd
love a live cross to Keithy.
Just a little anecdote from myself as well, Reese, and you boys slandered me a bit, early in the season. I take a while to get going in my super coach work, after a pretty heavy on season. So, don't think I forget the OGs, Rami, good game, bro, who's the most nicest man in defeat. We got Keats, one of the greats who had a great year, last year and kept getting snicked off by us every game. Keithy, my way, McDonald, with one of the great brains, unless he's picking Jake Clifford. So, boys, I still love you. I still remember you. As we get a bit more in the groove this year, I'll be back. I'll shoulder their Turtle starting someone up, if that's his fucking name. So, it'll be nice to see some of your legends at Magic Round. And like you said, we can share maybe an Israel Dag and a couple of Britney Spears and just, have a good time. And just, hopefully we see a bit of no reception out there as well.
Speaking of deep cut references, maybe a bit of Marshall Chalk, if you will.
Yeah.
Short ball, 8 ball, if you will. Lads, before we get into the show, and what are we going to discuss tonight? Well, we're going to have to address the elephant in the room, why we've got a little bit of tinfoil on our melons, and that'll come soon, guys. But just to recap the scores from last week, RTN, myself, the Washed King, finished on 1342. DJ7, who copied my team, except one guy, he finished on 1352. And then Sokothvanoth, a notorious slow starter, finishes like a Bart Cummings horse traditionally. Started the season with a 12:30. Sock, talk me through what's been said at training this week.
Oh, mate, look, we first half of round one, we're looking the goods. You and I had a chat about an hour before kickoff in Vegas. Do we look at Ponga? Do we look at Sharp as VC? You VC'd Sharp, I've VC'd Ponga. Only one of us got to see a whole game out of our player. So, things were looking up for Soccer. Unfortunately, Soccer went to a dodgy insurance broker, mate. I've been to a dodgy insurance broker. I thought, you know what, I'm going to start the year with one young Nath, who's, gone for about 60 in a 28-point haul against Brisbane. Not ideal to start the year. Don't worry, I've got my insurance policy against one young hair-flowing Nico Hines. And I've gone, you know what, I'll have KL Iro, I'll have a bit of that. If fucking the Sharkies put on a humping in round one, Iro's got a benefit. So when I've woken up on fucking Sunday morning and seen that he's only gone for, 45, mate, I've been ready to jump. It's all right, boys. We got in on Monday. We had a fucking sauna, as you're a big fan of. We had a sauna together, got our cocks out, had a bit of a chat with each other. Heart to heart, man to man.
It's cock to cock.
It's okay. Let's get back to what we practiced in the preseason. Let's trust the process. You were picked for a reason. You're here for a reason. We've paid you good money. You're going to do something for us. Set and forget. Don't panic trade like I was planning on doing at about Monday, 10:01 in the morning. Val out to Moses Leo. Questions were being asked everywhere. It's all right, boys. Settle. Let's reset and go again this week.
Yeah, our cocks. I think the key thing you said there was your cocks are fat and they're ready to spurt sauce. I did.
Shout out Mark Gasnier.
Shout out to Gaz. Shout out to Coogee Bay Hotel, a place we've all frequented a few times. I did think you were going to go off the deep end and say everything's happened for a reason. But then I realized we went on a hinge date, so you weren't going to say that. It's all good. Seven, just general thoughts, comments on the week for yourself, mate.
On that shout out to Craig Gower in the golf club. Of course. I mean, I think something that Sock said there really stuck with me, you boys having a phone call an hour before Vegas, right? And that gets to my next point. 3 types of people in this world, yeah? You got leaders, you got sheep, and you got fucking delusional cunts like yourself. So, you boys in cahoots, should we get this? Should we get fucking Arata House? Should we fucking, suck each other off in the fucking, in the cubicle, a la Sunny Bill? Don't, mate. Leave it. I'm not going to go Stuart McGill today, boys. So I'm not going to bring it up. But great year. Last year, boys, obviously, when I popped my rugby league super coach Hyman I was relying on podcasts. I was relying on you boys a lot this year. A lot of lessons learned from the first year. So respectfully, I mean, I don't give a fuck about anything else but beating you two boys pretty much every week. That is the goal. So I'm so stoked with my team, man, to the point where, you know, I've got such a good cheapie crop. I ended up going for pretty much fitting in Leo, Makassini, Falmana. I've yet to hear his name said. Chester, etc. Had Helam Lukey, had Lasardi. So as far as where I actually want my team, you know, I didn't get them all right with your Atkinsons and, you know, shit like that. But, mate, 1352 week one. In the Storm game, you know, I had Harry Grant, Farlongo, Moses Leo, Lasardi. I think to you boys, I sent a screenshot of my result about 19 times that night. Feeling pretty brave. Things turned, obviously, on Saturday with no Turbo and no Martin, but my biggest takeaway, and we'll get to this later, it's round one. I think last year after the first week, I traded out about fucking 3 blokes that had mediocre weeks. I'm going to go, what the fuck have I done here? So we'll get to this later. You boys are both in panic stations. I don't think you've learnt enough from last year, if I'm being honest, from what I've heard you talking about. We're good. The profits are fine. We're playing the long game this year. You know, if Maxi, you're still watching, I know you were, you know, last year. I'm feeling like Timmy Williams right now, you know, watching you come home going, we're good. We've got trades in the bank. It's early in the days. We're going to watch you boys come home. So profits up, man. Profits up. That's all I'm going to say for now.
It's great to hear, mate. Now let's move on. Tinfoil hat time. Tinfoil hat time. Before we get into the games and what's happening next week in rugby league and our lives personally. Gents, can I share some tinfoil with you on this rugby league Wednesday evening, please?
Please. Lay it on us.
Up. AFL, Australian Football League. Heard of it? Record TV deal signed last year. I think it's from 2027 through to 2020 something. 4.5 billion, the largest broadcast deal done in Australian history. Now, what other major sport, winter sport in Australia, is also currently negotiating a TV deal? That's right, the sport we all know and love and grew up with and attempted to play rugby. What drives the price up, boys? People watching the game. Now, this kind of speaks to a bigger point of what's going on and why I think we really need to actually rethink our general strategy when it comes to our team compositions. It's the 6 again, the proliferation of the explosion of the 6 again that we've seen in round one, lads. Now, I'll give you a couple of stats if you don't mind. In 2021, when the 6 again rule was founded, the average amount in round one per game was 7.3. Then over the next 4 years, it went to 3.8, 5.4, 4.6, 4.6. So fairly steady the last 4 years, lads. And round one this year, we saw 8.5 6 agains, the most ever recorded in terms of average per game in history since 2021. Of those 8.5, 5.5 of them were outside of the 40. But what really, which is normal, okay, that's normal based on last few seasons. You still with me here?
Yeah.
So I know you didn't go to a private school, mate. So numbers, get a little bit complex for you. But does that that make sense, right, buddy?
Move on.
So okay, of those, all right, 3 of them happened inside the 20 to 40. So all adding up to 8.5. Now, as you know, that's been the rule tweak this year, that any offside penalties or ruck infringements within the 40 meters are now 6 again, which then has a flow-on effect to the game because, mate, you get behind, you're slow on a tackle, you're slow off the line or fast off the line. Teams get a roll on. We've seen it a few times this week, and we'll get into the games in a sec. But then they start drowning, and it's really hard to kind of wrestle back that momentum. Just a screenshot reads something that one of the gibbers, Dino, shout out to you, Dino, posted. I don't know where he got this from. This could be from the dark web for all I know, but it looks like a good screenshot off a Code at Sports article. The referees reviewed defenders who did not clear the PTB area at the completion of the tackle, which wasn't sanctioned and should have resulted in a set restart. The referees have also reviewed several slow rucks in round one that, upon reflection, should have been a penalty or a set restart, depending on field position. You can expect a high focus in this area. So what I've just rattled off, lads, are stats relative to 6 again. We saw 13 to 15. Don't sue me. I don't know the number. Tons this weekend in round one, which I don't believe has happened before. Someone will fact check me on that, but it feels right to say. I believe what we're seeing, given all of the aforementioned points, broadcast deals, engaged viewership, exciting games, big momentum swings, that gives more discourse, it gives more fan engagement, more online highlights. I believe we're going to start to see an explosion of scoring this year, meaning that we need to target high ceiling players. General thoughts to get a temperature check of the Aspie shit that I've just battled off for the last few minutes, boys.
Well, mate, I mean, I'm a Dragons fan, and I think pretty much everyone everywhere thought we got screwed in Vegas. Mate, it was very one-sided reffing, and that's how the rest of the games for the round have sort of felt as well. Ever kind of since then is one team's kind of getting more of the rub of the green, and it becomes a downhill avalanche. Obviously, we saw the Saints manage to hold up their gloves in Vegas and send it close. But other than that, mate, most of the games where there was any form of disparity between the two teams, it led to humping conditions. I think the only thing that stopped South from getting to 50 might have been the rain on, against the Dolphins. So there were a few things this round that I've sort of seen and sat there and gone, geez, you're going to want to have someone like your Turbo in your team. You're going to want to have someone who's capable of skiing downhill, because those kinds of guys can go big this year, particularly if this trend keeps up. It's just guys are now drowning, particularly with look at it. It almost speeds up the game. I'm not a big fan of the outside 20 meter 6 against. I liked it at the 40. I thought that was enough. But I think now, you're going to have big boppers who are going through 14 to 21 tackles, because they get pinged once or twice, and they end up on their try line gassed. And that can happen in real quick succession. There's no break, no slowdown. We've sped the game up again.
Yeah, to add that as well, Sock, I think now that we do have this change in rules, maybe the Dragons might go for 18 points next week. So for you, it's, it really seems like it's Christmas early in the year. You might see your team cross over for 4 tries, which might be nice, mate. But, call me a skeptic, lads. And, yes, you can bring some great points to the table regarding, TV deals. You look at Peter, nice hair of Landy's. And he's a marketing man. I think he's pulling many things, behind the scenes. But the thing that also I don't want to overreact to this type of thing is how often do we see new rules come in, takes a round or two, there's a correction, there's a knee-jerk reaction, it ends up finding, the norm, if you want to call it that, in a few weeks' time. So I think for me, I can see the upside in what you're doing. And, probably my biggest downfall last week was I didn't jump on these trends. I'd wait too long, Fletcher Sharp, and, whether it's a difference in the game or a play you need to target. So that's maybe one of my learnings I can look at from last year. But, are we throwing the toys out of the cot and completely reshaping and trying to get ahead in round one? Or is this something that we actually want to see a bit more data from and see if it's going to correct? Because logistically, is it really going to jump up this much and stay here? Or is this a bit of an anomaly? We've got the Vegas round. They're always going to speed it up for the Knights Cows game. People knew that coming into the game, especially. So they're valid points, but I think for me, I need to see more of that before I'm going to restructure my whole team, although there is more potential for bigger scores.
Absolutely. So I think what we've established is Jugas will be a distant third to Washed Winner and Soccer the People's Champ this week, because he's too stubborn to understand what's happening in front of him, because he doesn't sleep on the weekends and he's actually watching the games intently. But listen, man, I completely agree. You're right. It's early days. There's not a lot of sample size. I think this is the thing for me, lads, that really kind of gets me putting a tinfoil hat on my head, aside from the TV deal thing, is that 20 to 40 restart. Just think about the amount of yardage penalties you see in years gone by, right? Again, 3 less per year last year. Where that kind of reset, the ball goes out, the set starts again at the 45, whatever, and the opposition, they're making bloody 10, 11 tackles in a set, especially if it's a late conceding penalty restart. And I heard something really interesting. It was the Scope talking about it. And it was the teams that will best adapt to this tweak are the ones that have the most balanced spines or the most experienced spines, or in the best regular season teams. So think about who's that? Melbourne, Penrith, Cronulla, admittedly, that tricky Nico, Yeah, you could probably get the Rabbitohs in there at a stretch. We'll speak about the Rabbitohs, but like essentially, I guess what I'm getting at is like if all the above is true, and we do start to see that upward trend in ball in play, which is something Volandis always talks about. Seven, like remember that Hello Sport pod where they're in the boardroom and they're talking about
very interesting. Yeah, he's all the data and statistics around that. Yeah, I do remember that.
But they want ball in play, lad. They want ball in play, and then that just fatigues the middles. It's a quicker game through the middle. You even got Jack Cogger playing like fucking 13 for 20 minutes through the guts, man. I believe that if this is all happening, then we need to all rethink our structures if we haven't already, and tackle the high and chase the high ceilings. And all that is fullbacks, obviously, the big three, and then 4 good halves, 4 high-scoring halves. You can go 120 and be a captaincy option. And I think that has to be like an immediate thing. Otherwise, if the trend doesn't continue, whatever, you adjust. But if it does, like you will get left behind. So I'm at the position now where I had 2 600 2RFs, right? Gussie Crichton and Jack Williams. They're both gone for me. Well, one of them is this week. I'm just going to try and find those base power points with dudes who are 300k less and just fucking sit on that for a bit. And that'll allow me to then get Atco out to Turbo or even a, Dewey up to Cleary in a couple of weeks, whatever. So I think, just that's kind of where my thoughts are at with it at the moment. One to monitor, certainly. And Socko, we've gone so deep in the tinfoil that yours has now become almost.
Socko, have you had a stroke? Jesus Christ,
mate. I'm just sitting here thinking about the other thing and the other elephant in the room, which is the screw job that the 6-man bench is every week as well. Particularly, like not that you're ever planning on having players that don't start, but even if you've got a guy who has now been relegated to the bench, he's no certainty to get on the next week, right? Take for instance both you and I, Reece, own Nat Butcher, right? He's on the interchange bench. If someone goes down early, there's no guarantee that Nat Butcher gets on and gets any game time. How is he playable, right? So I think the other thing is you can't afford to have guys that aren't in that starting position either this year. There's just no room for that because you could just get screwed in a round where you get 3 or 4 blokes that don't get on the pitch because there's been a head knock early to someone else in a key position.
Very well said, lads. So that kind of wraps the tinfoil hat segment. Something to monitor. If you see this tinfoil back on my head next week, you'll know that Turbo's done 160 off his cock as my skipper at Brookie on Sunday Arvo because Newcastle have been 6 again into the core of the earth. Because, again, once teams get that roll on, you can't really stop it. It's just that law of diminishing returns almost. You keep making fucking tackles, get behind the scoreboard. Yeah, it's something to keep an eye on. Before we get into the games, lads, we'll just do a bit of a check of the comments here. Dr. Faraj says, Socko, inside sources at the Dragons told me Flano has thrown heavy emphasis on fitness amongst his backs this preseason. Hold faith, Socko. Flano at the wheel. That might be a nice segue into the Vegas screw job that you alluded to before. Do you want to just maybe give us your general irrational thoughts on what occurred at the Death Star?
Oh, mate, I mean, to be honest, I think they couldn't have they couldn't have 2 results that they didn't want in Vegas, right? They had to have a close game and a more manufactured result. They couldn't have a humping like the first game sort of was going in the direction of. So they've kept it artificially close. How have they done that? They've held us Dragons down. Mate, the boys were tackling their asses off. You couldn't be prouder of the blokes wearing the fucking red V that day. Yet the NRL, in their wisdom, something that's been a strip since, that's been a loose carry since 1908, is now a strip, and it's blowing with 30 seconds left to go in Golden Point. Why not just let it go? Why not just fucking make it a draw? That would have been the fair result for that game because, to be honest, neither team showed really any great attacking prowess. The Dragons defended their ass off, and I actually think a draw would have been a fucking fair result for that game. Stephen Crichton, fucking shoulder charge to the head, joke, protected species. Just waiting for the day that the NRL actually does something to him. I'll probably die before that happens. So yeah, mate. Look, Saints got screwed. But again, it's the NRL. They want teams to win. There's a clear bias amongst the refs, whether it's subconscious or conscious. Those good teams, they're viewed as less likely to give away a penalty against the lesser team. So again, I think it's high ceiling players in those sort of better quality teams, they're going to just be running downhill for most of the season. If you're a Titans fan, if you're a Dragons fan, if you're a Cows fan, even if you're a Knights fan out there, there's probably some heartache coming your way this season. And look, I'm ready for it. And I'm ready to put my tinfoil on at any time and call the NRL out for what they are, which is a pack of cheats who just want the Bulldogs to win.
Jeez. The C word.
I got pretty dark pretty quick, Sock. Tell us how you really feel.
Now,
Jugas, on that note, mate, Jugas, all right, I'm going to have a Kyle Sandilands blot, mate. It's been the off-season. You haven't put in any work, and you've shown up late today. Fair dinkum, you're distracted, mate. You're distracted with your astrology and all that other bullshit, and you've left me and Reese here to carry the show. And honestly, mate, it's very disrespectful. Very disrespectful. Yeah. Mate, you and I are going to have you and Jackie O in this, and you have been into the astrology. It's all you care about these days. Mate, when are you going to pull your head out of your ass?
Mate, I think you're the creator of your own doom, Sock. Last year, I realized I could come second and still get all the, Latinas and packets in the world, mate. So really, you reap what you sow. So that's a big fuck you. And I'll see you at Toddy's again this year. I can't wait.
Well, mate, as you can tell, I was too busy spending the winnings on the Latinas and packets to go and buy a microphone. Sorry to the faithful watchers of the stream.
Hey, listen, they'll understand, mate. They'll understand. Do you want to get into the Supercoach scores from that game, lads? I'll rattle off a couple that jumped out at me. On the dog side of things, Jacob Carraz is one of the great targets of all time. Left wing, right wing, doesn't matter. 99 with a try. Really like the look of. It was quite a high base scoring game, actually. You had Kikau, Preston, both go above 90. I think only Presto scored a try. No one else from the Dogs really that relevant. There's quite a bit of noise around Critter this year, but I feel like he has to kind of do a lot to get points. He finished at 68, probably one of the best on the field, realistically, but not the most overly involved guy of all time. So that's a monitor. That's one to watch for owner. But then again, I said Latrell Mitchell's a trap, so don't fucking listen to me. I'm washed. Bailey Hayward with 50 and base at 350K. If you're not already on him, you're probably not getting on him, but owners loving it. On the Saints side of things, lads, Cookie with a ton. That won't last forever, right, Sock, given your man and mine, Jacob Little, back this week. Jaden Sewer offloaded like an absolute freight train. I think it was 5 offloads for the 74. He was offloading a lot in the trials. I noticed that Atco and Flano turning under the 2 RFs quite a bit in the Charity Shield and then this game. So bit of upside there. But the real story of the day, aside from Setu 2's famous 62, are the Couchman boys. So, Socko, they were the 2 players that you had in this game that were unique to all of us. Do you maybe just want to tell us your thoughts on how they went? Are they holds? How are you feeling?
Oh, mate, look, obviously, right, like the stats and the numbers out of this game are a little bit skewed, right? You're talking a golden point game, so and one that's gone almost a whole distance, right? It's gone 9.5 minutes, or 89.5 minutes in total, I should say. So, look, the numbers are a little bit skewed. Expected out of Toby Couchman. He's just gotten better and better. Pretty impressive from Ryan Couchman, coming off an ACL reconstruction last year. First game back, 70 off the bench. Must have. You've actually credited me there. I zigged when I should have zagged, and I went with Hamish Stewart, who also, again, off the line, late switch, 54. Not bad. I think he's a bit more risky as an own, as opposed to Ryan Couchman. Couchman, is going to come off the bench, whereas Stewart is unlikely to stay sort of in that position. Some weeks he'll start, some weeks he won't. I'm potentially looking at vacating his position there and maybe even dropping down to a Ryan Couchman because you can get him for about $230,000 less, which would be happy days. But Toby Couchman, dual position, 72. What more could you ask for? He looks like the second front rower to come off. He'll be getting the share of the minutes. He's fit, young, and rips and tears. So, yeah, Toby Couchman's an absolute buy.
7, is Ryan Couchman on your radar this week? And if so, why? If not, why not?
Yeah, if you asked me after Vegas, mate, I was bringing him in. Someone was going to go and he was coming straight in. But I was actually going to add it before. This actually just segues back a little bit. But to what you were saying with your tactic of bringing in your turbos and those really high ceiling guys, years gone, it'd be a give and take because you'd be giving up those points in the middle. But such is the crop of cheapies in the second row forwards we have this
It's
year.
unbelievable.
It's outrageous, mate. Even if you want a mid-range, you've got Helam Lukey, you've got those type operators. You go down a level, you've got Lasardi, you've got, Noah's Ark, you've got Couchman. So, if you put yourself in my position, I've got Lasardi, I've got Noah Martin coming in. I've also got Helam Lukey, then I've got a few guns. So, yes, if I go Couchman, I would then, it'd be a similar tactic for you. It'd be more freeing up cash. I'm probably happy to wait another week on Angus Crichton, maybe. I've got Yo and then also another gun in there for Fido who's not going. So for me, I think if I didn't have who I have there, I've picked pretty well with Lukey and Lasardi and those guys that I'd be, it's much of a much just to trade out. It would be a definite yes. For my team build and and bringing in Noah Martin, I don't feel like it's going to be relevant next week unless I'm doing what you're doing, which is to free up some cash. But yeah, for anyone out there looking at a way to make money, or if you haven't actually started with the right guy, you're bringing him in. And I still may next week. There's a strong chance.
Well said, mate. I think if we don't have Ryan Couchman in this week, it's a real watch on that rotation. He came on at the 20-minute mark through the guts in Vegas. Then he spelled Hame Sele sock. And then he played the final 20 on the so got him 60 minutes. Like if that's a continued trend, then you're looking at a guy there that could shit in 50 a week, just probably in tackles alone or whatever base power. That's someone that can really, is obviously going to fucking jump up in value deluxe and be fairly playable. So I think he's probably the cheapest. He'll get a dual citizen eventually as well.
It's just one more thing that caught my in that game before we do move on. Obviously you got your people like Karaz, he's a certified gun. Kikau, he's there or thereabouts. Preston, he's a fucking weapon. Just wanted to quickly touch on Lockie Galvin. 81 points in a game where he didn't overly do too much. A couple line break assists, but ultimately, yes, Dogs are going to be a defensive team. You'd expect them to score more than what they did most weeks. Say they're in the mid-20s or whatever it may be. For him getting 81 in the game with not too much attack and flair, I just feel like this year under the new scoring system, a lot of those guys who are just involved a lot more and, busting a bee around the ball like your Galvin operators, the fact that he did 81 with relatively fuck all attack in the overall game, they scored 15 points. I think he's a big watch. So I think that's especially one to monitor if you don't necessarily want to move all the way up to a Cleary or a Hines or someone, but you're wanting someone who can, do a pretty consistent job every week. I think he's definitely one to watch because I think he's definitely unders right now at 550.
Mate, it's not a bad shout. As you boys know, I actually had him for round one. I just wanted a steamy night with a teenager in Vegas. So I brought Lockie Galvin in. 35 tackles in that 81. So, obviously it was a high base game. But to Seven's point, mate, he's the fittest, probably one of the fittest in the league. Like that's been the rhetoric around him for a couple of years now. I'm watching him quite closely, always on the ball, just like a little puppy dog. He's great to watch, actually. He's obviously much maligned for Isaac Moses size reasons, but he'll be there or thereabouts. I'll die on the hill that Adam Dewey's a better option at the same price, given the goal kicking and, just that weird Tigers upside that he might have. But, yeah, you wouldn't knock anyone from getting Galvin. Probably not bringing him in, but you know what? No one's going to fucking bring him in. I do like the shout, though, Seven. A guy that you and I own stock in that game that we'll finish this game on now is Val Holmes. He finished with a 50-odd. One try assist in that, missed a couple of important conversions, didn't take the last kick. We were musing regarding why he was limping deluxe. Actually went back and watched the game. Knock, 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 AFP at the door. He got hurt in a tackle in like the 73rd minute. I sent it off to NRL Physio of all people, actually. Shout out to the Fizz. He probably won't be tuning in tonight, but if he is, we love your work. Just a cork, mate. Just a cork. Yeah, it's all good. Cramp or cork. He'll be sweet. So look forward to him doing 54 again against Melbourne this week. But Saints, Sock, as you know, after this week, the draw really opens up for them. They have Para on a Sunday Arvo game that you, me, and your friend and mine, C Win, will be attending. Then they play the Titans and then the Cowboys. That's a great 3-week stretch. I think all Val Truthers. Yep. Stay strong, lads. Stay strong. Let's jump to the next game before we go on for 6 hours here. Cows and Newey. Three players that we all had, lads, that I'm sure we're all very happy with their performance were Trey Mooney. He just looks like another Corey Horsburgh from last year, doesn't he? That. We'll give you 55 honest points, a bit of upside there, can offload. I think the key with him will be getting off at his peak. He won't let you down, obviously, week in, week out, but if we can find someone 300k cheaper to do the same job, let's do that. Reed Marnie, I thought he played pretty shit, to be honest. He tried. He had as we say, the Benayas, the Benaya Uelus, where he just says, hey, guys, don't worry, I got this. Get out of my way. I'll figure this one out for you. Kicking it dead a couple of times, but he was looking for the TA, which I'm sure we all appreciated. And then the other one, Tommy Chester, 60-odd in base, looks playable every week. Probably speaks to that point that Seven mentioned before about the, what's it called? The rookies coming through. I love the matchup versus West this week. Very playable. I think anyone from that game is playable, given there's 60-odd points average in the last 8 games between them. So I'll show to you one of the unique players that we had here was Kalen Ponga. Seven and I did not own him. He finished with a ton. Not quite a daddy ton, but a ton. Where is daddy? He hasn't come to my cricket for years. How did you feel about watching KP? Did you feel anything?
Yeah, no, mate. Yeah, no. Look, I think you and I were both big on Newcastle coming into this season, right? I think, look, where Newcastle is overlooked is not something that necessarily lies in the stats, right? It's not something that we can draw on a piece of paper. It's that Holbrook factor, O'Brien gone, Holbrook parachuted in. We love that, right? Like the Titans, when they were under Holbrook, were a really good attacking side. And to his credit, he got them to the finals one year, had them kind of off the bottom of the ladder a bit, like they weren't just anchored to the bottom like they have been in other years. He definitely has something there. He's an attacking focused coach. So, look, when you kind of sit there and you look at players like Fletcher Sharp, you look at KP, you look at this Newcastle attack that I'd go so far to say was revitalized is what we saw in that first game. They look more confident. They look more happy in their football. And I think you and I sort of felt that was going to be the case in the preseason, right? That's why both you and I re-signed Fletch, and that's why I ultimately jumped on Ponga and slapped a VC on him, because I think they're going to be a team that is going to score a lot of points. It's going to be that glass cannon build where, look, they're going to score 24 to 30 a week, and you just got to score more than them to win the game. And that's where I see Newcastle kind of competing this year. They've lost a little bit through the forwards in terms of experience and players going elsewhere, over the last couple of years. So, I sort of think glass cannon, there's plenty of points to be had at Newey, particularly through that left edge. If you've got your best, you've got your Dill Lucas and your KP and your Fletcher Sharp, they can all stay fit. All of them are playable each week.
Yeah, just to that point, their record last year was woeful. So woeful that they won the Spoon. They were 4-2 in games that KP, Fletch, and Lucas all played together, and Sharp. And then they won 2 other games outside of that. Mate, I thought Ponga looked healthy. He was around the ball. I think he touched it 50-odd times, which is, I think the averages his last few years were in the high 30s. I'm really keen to kind of see how he goes without Fletch this week. I think Fletch being on the field just gives them another dynamic. We saw Fletcher at first receiver quite a lot. Then KP kind of obviously out the back. Then that shifted when Sandon came on. They kind of alternated. They were kind of shape-shifting like reptilians there for a while, which was a bonanza. But they did kind of struggle a little bit after Sharp went off. Don't really love their draw as well, just to play devil's advocate. Newey, I think they get pasted by Manly at Brookie this week. And they got the Wars at home, to be fair. Then the Dogs, then Raiders. So, the next 3 aren't too crash hot after this. Then they go on to West, Roosters, Penrith. If you started with Ponga, you're absolutely cheering. If he turns up again this weekend, you're a Scotty Fieldwater owner like me and Socko are, then you probably have to have a look under the hood, because he's going to jump up in cash. But yeah, I think the end game at the fullbacks, lads, Seven, I'm sure you'll agree, is, as I said before, targeting the best teams in the comp, score the most points, was just going to be fucking probably Walsh, Teddy, Turbo, right? I mean, that feels as though it's already kind of presenting itself as the big 3, doesn't it?
I think with, touching on Ponga as well, like It's something that Sock mentioned. It's not something that you can literally put into the stats, but, Pong is an it guy. Pong is the hot girl at school. He's always been used to getting that attention, his DMs would be flooded. His girlfriend's turning off the notifications every night. So I think for him, Dill Brown's in town, Fletcher Sharp's hot. They've got Bradman Best. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he had the most receipts this weekend of any fullback in the game. So for him, I don't think it's him even looking fit, but he looks like he gives a fuck again. And when Ponga gives a fuck, he's a problem, right? So I think as long as Newcastle have this vibe and they're early and they're fighting for the top 8, am I jumping to him this week? Potentially not. Maybe bigger fish to fry, but I wouldn't. I don't crucify anyone for doing it because he looks good, and I think the earlier in the season when he still gives a fuck is the time to jump on him if you're going to really.
Another guy, on the other side of the equation, I'll go back to you, Seven, again, that you owned in a team that, to be fair, like I think Newey scored like 3 tries off kicks. Like it was actually the scoreline kind of flattered Newcastle a little bit, but the Cows had 50 odd tackles in the 20. They were going side to side a lot. Newey just kind of showing the sidelines and sliding, and no one was really running straight, which meant that they weren't getting around them until Dom Young jammed in. But a guy that you own at left centre, Jackson Purdue, what were your thoughts on his game generally?
Yeah, well,
what's the temperature check on him? Obviously, the draw looks pretty good next couple of weeks.
In the spirit of transparency, obviously, I've already come in late and affected the gibberers. I had a pretty life-altering bender that weekend, actually. So I got home, actually, during golden point of the Dragons-Bulldogs game. So I've just been talking completely out of my ass, relying on KO highlights packages for most of this and stats. So I actually didn't catch a minute of this game. So even what I said about Lockie Galvin, that I felt like I was writing an essay. Yeah, I actually got home during golden point of the other game, and I didn't even turn it on. I was in that much of the hurt locker. I just needed to off. Stop the voices. So, I mean, look, going off just my Aspie little fucking statistics, Purdue's a funny one. He's in the flex. He's on 42. That was the one that I kept kind of shifting around to get extra cash to facilitate Harry Grant, to move Brandon Smith. So, look, 42 is not great. He's the one I'm most looking at, a straight Purdue Duponga. I actually have the cash to do that. I've got about 90K in the bank ATM. I've only made the one trade this week we'll get to later. That's for a bit of cash. That's just Noah Martin, like fucking shock. But, man, Purdue's on 42. As far as I'm aware, he's named in the centers again this week. There's no change to the Cows team, correct?
Yeah, correct.
He's still there. They're versing Tigers. And then I'll throw it back to you boys, right? Say you're in my position. He scored 42 this week. Let's say, which is pretty possible, he scores a double against, the Tigers this week, or scores 1 try. He finishes 90 to 100. Next week, they've got Titans at home on a Sunday or whatever it is during the daytime game.
Oh, defense optional.
Are you hitting the panic button yet? I think it's another wait and see. I overreacted a bit last year. Yeah.
Hold, baby.
Yeah, hold him for that 3-week run. Even if he's got a high break even going into the Titans game, he's going to be at left center. To be fair, like, KL Irul was locked up by Jojo, but you've still got a clown show with All Pumped Up, Tell Us How, and fucking Lockie Ilias on that edge. So
Jojo low-key a dog though, man. Like Jojo low-key a dog, so that's okay.
Final one that we'll talk about. We'll kind of wrap it quickly because it's probably been done to death on other pods. Scotty Drinkwater. I'll tell you what, Sock, as we both own Fletch and Drinky,
Not great.
Rugby league roller coasters of a first half. I mean, Drinkwater just fucking look like he's going to do a double ton. Sharp is, and then he goes down, and all while Fletcher's going nuts, Drinky's holding a fucking rib, and you're like, I don't know what to feel, man. Like this he's like 2% owned. He's going absolutely bonanza here, and then Drinky's doing these ones, and you're like, oh, am I happy? Am I sad? I'm feeling something. That's good. That's good. It must be March. Footy's back. But yeah, Drinky obviously didn't do much. All the chat this week, you listen to your physios, your Willie Masons. They talk about how much of a pain in the rugby league arse having a rib cartilage is. Apparently not being able to lift weights. Needles don't do shit. Gets one knock. He's kind of back to square one. But I'll still hold him because I just love the vibes on a Saturday arvo at Socky's house at Leichhardt or the Beach Road Hotel, wherever we end up going. I think he's a fine hold this week. Again, that matchup, last 8 times they've played, the average amount of points scored, 7, has been 66. So, if that's an open game, Drinky plays in a dinner suit generally anyway. He's not a high carry count kind of fullback. So I'm just hoping that they can get him to the right spots. And they got Makasini playing at centre this week. So he's a rookie. Maybe he gets caught out of position and Drinky kind of skins him there. I don't know. But I think it's worth a watch this week. Would fully understand those who want to press the eject button and cash out. My final one that I had was Bradman Best, who will get more opportunities in the day games he's got ahead. Next game, lads.
Just quickly, Reece, can I give one to the audience out there, because on the drinking
please,
thing,
mate.
There's 114 reasons why you shouldn't trade him out this week. That's his running average for the last 6 games against the Tigers. His low score has been 70. So wait and see. Wait and see, Gibberish. Wait and see.
And Sock, I'll tell you what I also really like, mate, is going into round 1, he was 22% owned. Now 12.4% of those are traded him out, so he's now sub 10%.
Odd city.
Again, for good reason. Like, I get the optics. He's 800K and he pumped out a 20. But, if there's ever a man that can run around and throw nice cutout passes on a Saturday Arvo at Leichhardt, winking.
I think though, like, that's got the potential for him to be high scoring, right? Like, to any of the jibs out there thinking trading him out, that's got the potential to be really high scoring. I'd be holding him this week, see how he goes. Like, he could pull a 130 out this week. Happy days. If not, look, you've got options there. You've got Turbo, you've got Ponga, you've got Sewer, Fairlago. All of them could ton this week, realistically, and then you've had players that have tonned last week, ton again this week, and it's a downgrade and saves you money next week. But you're going to hate yourself if you trade little Scotty D this week, and then he goes for 140 against the Tigers. That's all I'm saying. You may never watch another Balmain game again, or Leichhardt game again, I should say.
Yeah, just hopefully that's a really open game. It traditionally always is. I mean, just looking at the middles for Saints, West, you got Fanua Pole, Terrell May, who hasn't had much of a preseason, Alex Twal, they're pretty 3 big boppers. Then you got preseason MVP Royce Hunt, Alex Seyfarth. Like, those middles are quite large and immobile. But then you look over the cows, you've got Jason Taumalolo, Cohen Hess, Ruben Cotter, and Matt Lodge on the bench. So immovable objects meets the movable force type shit there through the guts.
One other thing, going back to your theory as well, just quickly, Reece, because I know we want to move on, is the Tigers haven't had a game yet under the new referee interpretations, under the new structure. There could be some extra 6 agains given away, just them being a bit rusty, obviously having the bye in round 1. Yep. One that would go in the favour again of Drinky owners.
Absolutely fair. Listen, there's probably, plenty of people just shaking their heads right now. This is called mental gymnastics, and we have the microphone and you don't. Okay? So you can come and see us in the comments next week when he does 42 and is holding a rib. Mate, it's not going to be fun to watch. Like, he's going to get hit early. I'll tell you what's going to happen. So he's going to get hit early, and then we're going to be sitting there, a couple of super dries deep thinking, fuck me, why do we do this? Because he's holding his rib. The needle hasn't worked. He goes off for a needle like 15 minutes in. And you're like, oh, God, is he coming back on? Purdue's doing pretty well at fullback. But, again, it's March. Doesn't count, right?
100%.
Lads, the next game was a game that Seven really enjoyed to the point where you were basically spending the 50 grand after it in our little private chat there. Some of the carry-on is just nauseating, to be honest, mate. But let's have your victory lap here. The 4 unique players that you had in this game that Socko and I did not were Suafalongo, Leo Moses, I think is his first name, and then Lasardi and a guy that we've all heard of, Harry Grant. Seven, just talk to me about how you were feeling. Did you watch this game? Were you on a life-altering bender? Where are we at?
Funny enough, I probably caught about 20 minutes. Again, the minutes will get better during the season, boys. I've just moved into the new crib. So that wasn't ideal, but yeah, true to what you're saying, I was smothering myself in screenshots and, the carry on, one of you would try to mention something in the game and I was chirping you over the voice receipts. So, it's great. Like, I want to talk about the players. It looks like Supercoach has actually ordered them in order of just my players at the top 4. I'm not sure if they do that in scoring order for the game. But it looks like they've just made it really easy for me to find. So, great start. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if we're talking a bit of rugby league here and not just straight Supercoach, like, when do we fucking learn, man? Like us carrying on in the group chat all week, man, Eels plus 6.5. What a fucking steal. Should we get him? The curse is broken. Then every year we get into the round one and we go, oh, like not much has actually changed, eh? Like the Titans are still shit. The Eels are still shit. The Dragons are still in dogfights where 10 points are scored. The Tigers might like finish ninth. Like I know we get carried away and we're rugby league romanticists and we want to see all this shit, but like, mate, it's change is gradual, change is slow. The Storm are the Storm. They can plug any cunt in there. You know, you've got Joe Chandler, Sardi, fucking Farlongo all pretty much going a ton. So for me, look, I'm not expecting that every week. I think Sua Farlongo, and it's something that I've realized, and I kept doing it fucking last year, guys. These cheapies like your Lasardis and you know, your bottom price starters in good teams that score points are going to fucking be better, because even if their base and their work rate is slightly not as good and not as talented, when you're running off like fucking, mate, Harry Grant, Jerome Hughes and Cam Munster, there's going to be fucking points. So like we can slice it and dice it however we want, but when you get these cheapies in these good teams, Moses Leo, Lasardi, Joe Chan, you know, yes, Storm aren't going to score 50 every week, but guys, there's going to be opportunities there. Like at the end of the day, you can say they're not going to score 50 every week like I am and like a lot of people are, but the Eels, mate, were one of the hottest teams to finish last year. I think they're only going to get better this year. And like, honestly, if they're putting 50 on the Eels, what are they going to do some other teams who aren't ready to show up? So really, you know, someone like Farlongo who's got a dog shit work rate, mate, he's going to get opportunities all year. Someone like like Moses Leo while he's in the team. So I think for me, again, last year I made the mistake of not getting Storm players. Other the day I, you know, cried myself asleep when I was the only person without Pappy when he put up about 3 million points. You know, I never jumped on Jerome Hughes last year. I had one player in there and I always seemed to be losing out on that. So I guess for me this year, I just thought, fuck it. If I'm tossing up between someone else, grab a Storm player, grab a Penrith player, whoever might be in those big teams. And yeah, it's been a great week for me with the Storm guys. They couldn't have asked for more.
I'll touch on the point you said about their shape. Hughes, Munster, and Harry. You know, what was interesting watching Sua, who I'd written off, to be honest, like before the season. I was like, mate, I don't see it. Like his work rate shit. Great guy to punt on. We love punting. I think we've punted on him every time he's fucking ever played a game, Sock. But one thing that was really interesting watching back the highlights was the shape they got him into. Like he doesn't have to do much, man. They call it, I think the swinging door shape, where you got Munster, Hughes in the middle of the field, maybe at either side of the post, and Farlongo, if he gets on the outside of anybody, like he's skinning him. Doesn't really matter. And his passing game has randomly kind of come good. I think it was like 5 LBAs, maybe. He's got Jets outside of him and Leo, and obviously the brick on the other side.
Fuck me, 5 LBAs. I didn't even realize. That's outrageous.
Yeah. But he doesn't have to, based on what I'm saying, he doesn't have to do much. Like obviously his base isn't there. It's dog shit, but he just has to follow the lead that's set by, as long as that spines that 6, 7, 9 is still there, like he's going to profit, man. And again, he's just that quick, that dynamic, probably quicker than Pappy. I'd even say he's as quick as Walsh, like in that 5 to 10 meter zone. So really exciting for Farlongo owners. If you ask me about Drinky, that might be someone I go to. If he tons up this week, like Farlongo, like you're silly not to. Him or Ponga, if they go up, you're going to have to. I think they play Brisbane week after. And I feel like the Bronx might take a little while to kind of get into the season as well. Joe Chan is also someone that you alluded to, Seven. Sock, I'm not sure what your thoughts are on Joe Chan. I mean, he's been
not again. Not again. Yeah, not again. No.
I get that. But just on that theory, like, he's playing an Eli Katoa's jersey. He's just running off Hughes' hip. Another guy that doesn't really have to do much. He just follows around like the fucking premiership winning spine, right? Like,
right. But like, look, let's be honest. Like the Eels looked like the Titans of last year. Like they couldn't hold the pill. Like anytime they were coming out of their own end, drop the pill. Like I haven't seen enough out of Joe Chan sacking poor little Jonah Pezzett, to much of the chagrin of all you Supercoach owners out there, which I was one of too, and I know you were as well, Reece, standing over him like he's Mike Tyson over Holyfield. Like it's just, mate, Pezzett, like mate. It's Pezzett. Like settle down, cunt. Like respectfully. So. Like Yeah, I'm big on like Lasardi. I'd seen enough from Lasardi. I like Lasardi. What Moses Leo actually looked quite average in the trials. Watching him, and same as you, mate. Like Suafea Logo, like very vibey player to watch and punt on. But Supercoach relevance wasn't there. Again, you put them outside though. Someone like Grant Munster and Hughes, and man, they can play. So look, yeah, I do think you have to consider these guys. But again, I'm more interested in just seeing how Para are this round, and how the Storm go. They're going to be locked in a bit of a dogfight this week against Saints. Can they replicate that? Right? Saints at this point a noted defensive team, not an attacking team. Right? So let's see what their floor is this weekend before you.
I'll just stop you there. We've just got a listener calling in, boys. We're going to do this live. Cam Wynn, how are you, mate?
Is that Ray?
Yeah, this is Ray. How may I help you, mate? Yeah, you're live on air. You're live on air.
Ray, I just wanted to call up because I'm absolutely fed up with that Eels team you're talking about.
I'm sorry, you're an Eels fan, are you, sir?
Excuse me.
You're an Eels fan, are you, mate?
I'm not a sir.
Right. Well, what are your thoughts on Parramatta's performance, mate?
Right, I've lived in Parramatta for 39 years,
Right.
And I've seen enough. I've seen enough. When what I'm doing here. Yeah, nah.
You did well, mate. You did well. While we got you on the line, Cam, we've got a special friend of you and mine and the entire Win family, DJ7, who has a couple of words for you regarding the round one matchup. 7.
Yeah, when I said to you, mate, I actually didn't have a mean word to say to you. I was fucking lying. I fucking smoked you, cunt. After last year, when you put together one of the speckiest teams I've ever seen, I thought it can only go up, right? It went down and you fall on your own sword and, tried to hug onto your big brother's team and you got fucking smacked in the face for it, mate. 39 years too long. Call it 40 years, mate. See you in fucking round 6 in the other league, you cunt.
Shit. Holy shit. No, look, it wasn't actually me you played. It was actually me you played. I had a few screenshots sent to Wash Winner, and he's given me the great suggestion to take out Braden Trindle, take out Saul Falongo, and also to get my boy Bradman Best over Latrell Mitchell. So.
Yeah, see, Cam, this is the thing. I've always trusted you, Cam. Stop listening to your brother, mate. All right, it's this year. Grow up and make your own decisions, and I believe in you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Come on, mate. Listen, Cam, you're old enough now, mate. You live in a beautiful house with your beautiful girlfriend and beautiful Artarman. You could fucking bring in Braden Trindle if you want.
Mate, your biceps are the size of Breeze's head, mate. I wouldn't be worried.
Mate, you're one of the largest blokes I've ever
tell us
seen.
how.
You got fucking lats coming out of your ears. I mean, mate, just treat your Supercoach team like it's a lap pull down.
Yeah, no, we just need to work on our internal structures and just reach for that defense, and that's how the team sort of just solidifies itself on the page moving forward, as our Beers would say.
Awesome. And so, Cam, just before we let you go, before we get back to the show, obviously we've spoken Supercoach tonight. A bit of a family feud kind of thing between you and me. And haha, that's funny. The viewers like that; they can relate to that.
You're fed.
Any kind of life advice you want to maybe give our loyal listeners or even Socko generally?
Look, guys, at the end of the day, it's not how long you quit vapes for. It's not how many days you go without smoking a vape. It's how many days you can say to yourself, I am who I am. And the V train, you are who you are. Good night.
Wise words from a wise man.
Can I just get a bit of clarification from you there, Reese? It almost sounded like a potential May brother reference there. I am what I am. Is that what you heard?
Yeah, Cam hasn't got a tattoo yet, but I think we know what the first one's going to be. Sock, you want to just quickly talk us through your thoughts vis-a-vis Jermaine Hopgood, a bloke that I owned until the 11th hour and then, just sucked him off. But you kind of carried
you
through.
You led me over the edge of the cliff, but that's all right, mate. Thanks for that.
I've absolutely barbecued you there. Obviously early bin, but still 60 odd in 50 minutes once you take out the binning. I think it was something like that. It was like 1 ppm. I mean, again, relating to what we were saying before about upside players, like where are you at? Temperature check on Hopgood in your side.
Look, here's my issue right this year is you got Hopgood doing, 50 or 60 at that, like at 500K, right? You've got Ryan Koutron doing it at 250. Who are you picking there? You got Lasardi, you've got all these cheapies, kind of back to Dylan's point earlier. There's so many good cheapies just with this rescoring as well, like how they're getting scored. Now that they're using NRL stats, it's a bonanza for forwards this year. And there's plenty of cheapies that are going to turn out 50. Yeah, there's plenty of cheapies that are going to turn out 50 for you every week. Hopgood, he's always going to do 50. Is he going to, or 50 or 60? Is he then going to get that offload back in his game? Look, the signs were there. But he also
threw one dumb offload, which makes me think that Riles is fucking got his big cock out and said, "Hey, you want to have one of these ones? Don't throw that fucking offload, mate." Because he done a dumb one at one point, right? I just wonder if that means is it shell season?
Yeah, look, I mean, mate, I'm just glad he's not playing this week. Gives me another week to do a few other things before I get rid of him out of my team. There's someone cheaper who'll do the same role for me.
Well said. Just before I get on to Stefano Utukamanu, we have a question for you, Seven. Can I ask, did Seven get a start off the back of selecting the 4 best performing Melbourne players? He seems to have glazed himself to Galvin levels, so figuring he must have played his hog with confidence.
Mate, it's actually been a pretty startless off-season, boys. I'm just more focused on myself at the moment, but, that selection was an inspired selection. We'll leave it with that. As the hog gets a bit more spurty this year and we find a bit more genuine places to put it, then we start making some wise selections. Just before we do quickly move on from that game, one thing I was gleaning at during that really fucking strange call from that Parramatta cunt was one thing I do want to quickly add is, as we've spoken about the absolute fucking plethora of selections in that second row, and you've got range as well. You've got, 400K Lukey, you've got Couchman 235, Noah Martin's a must-in. The one thing I would add in as a bit of a warning, if you will, is, guys, if you started with Lasardi or Joe Chan, like, you're laughing. At this point, you're sitting pretty.
You're not. Sean Blaw's coming back, mate. Lasardi's
So if I can finish what I was saying, though. So if you've started with Lasardi or Joe Chan, mate, regardless, though, if you've got 85 or 84 the first week, you're not unhappy. Like, all I'm saying is if you've started with either of those guys, you're going sweet. Especially with Lasardi, there's probably a spot or two. You've got, Alec the fucking, the granite chin McDonald, who's, I believe, out for a week with HIA symptoms. You've got Sean Blaw, who Melbourne have been very coy about what he's doing there, but he's going to be back soon. You've also got Trent Liero back in 2 weeks. So I don't even know if there's a spot to win or what's doing there. So just for the, not for the jibs necessarily, but for your more part-time people, you're seeing those 2 scores and you're thinking fucking bonanza. I'm not bringing them in if you don't have them. I think Lasardi was a good sum risk, but, there's a lot more going on there. And if you're not paying attention, I think it could be a trap. So that's a massive wait and see if you don't have any of those guys.
Yeah, also super worried that, like, Blaw comes in, goes on the left edge outside money, that, who's not to say that fucking Lasardi spells Joe Chan, like, at the 50th minute mark or some bullshit 100%. Like that.
Well, with a 6-man bench, it's almost guaranteed. 6-man bench is going to start doing a lot of that shit for us this year.
Pure optics, though, I like Lasardi. He looks like a throbber.
Oh, mate, I can't stress enough how quickly he'd be in my team if, like, it was a clear path for him. Like, the cunt just works his dick off, doesn't he? Like, mate, he'll give you 40s in the Noah the Ark Martin, who we'll get to in a sec, mold. Just, mate, 40 tackles, won't set the world on fire with, 150 meters or anything, but just good, honest points.
Another down.
Medium to slow burn value. One guy I just quickly want to touch on, shout out, Stefano Utukamanu. Again, based on what we were saying before about the 6 again and the ceiling thing, I feel like guys like him are probably going to be somewhat expendable soon. Like, I love the look of Paseka at 200K less for the same thing. But Stefano looked awesome, man. He picked up his bat and ball from last year. He got 51 minutes through the guts. Obviously, the first stint was a bit more extended given the chin got HIA'd. But, mate, how many times he found his front, set restart, Grant through the ruck.
Off players, like everything, man.
Oh, mate. And then you can just see how they get that roll on. The Roosters are also like that with Nafahu White. Like, very hard to put these kind of big thickies to ground. If they find their front get like ball plant early, hooker goes out, they just flood the middle, and then you can't really stop it. Like, it just takes one good run from one of these boys and a decent play the ball. So Stefano was awesome. Love to see him get over for a try, but again, he's one of these guys. Even if he averages 60, man, I'm probably going to have to move on. Just try and find someone else who can do that job at a cheaper price.
Speaking of moving on from players in that game, Reece, can I ask you, as a proud Jonah peasant owner, mate, are you holding firm? Are you having a look at someone like a Cody Walker this week? All beef aside, or all morals and ethics aside, are you having a look at getting rid of Peasant? I feel like he could be now a pretty slow burn up based off that last performance.
Yeah, I think if you just like look at halfbacks and 5'8" generally who aren't kicking, they're never that good. Like you're looking at 45s, 55s at best. I mean, even like a Dearden, 65, like he's a good player, obviously, much better than the peasants of this world. But you're right, it's going to be a slow burn, especially maybe in a low upside team with Para. How's their draw looking, man? They've got Broncos this weekend, Saints next weekend, then Penrith, West, Gold Coast. So it opens up a little bit. To answer your question, again, if I'm going back to that philosophy of high ceiling teams, who are we looking at? Again, Storm, Shark, Penrith, Bronx, Chooks, South at a pinch. So I think who are the 5'8" in those teams? That's who I'm looking at. And I'm going to figure out a way to get them in relatively soon. Whether they're a play each week, like you're not playing tricky against Penrith, you're not playing Walker against the Chooks, obviously, this weekend. Why would you? Okay, that didn't get a laugh. That's all good. It wasn't that funny.
So how many points? How many points did the Chooks league last week?
A few. Especially down that same edge. Cody Walker plays out with Fafita and Latrell, so that'll be fun to watch. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, that would be the goal sooner rather than later. Is get in a high ceiling 5'8" and play them on matchups. You thinking the same thing, lads? Obviously, Fletch is the number one, no question, no brainer. But outside of Fletch.
Well, let's have a real talk for the moment. You and I both sat there Monday morning, and we both spoke about using 3 trades this week. Am I looking at Cody Walker for Peasant? Absolutely. Why? Because again, you can get rid of someone like a Hopgood down to someone who's 200k cheaper, like a Paseka, who's going to fill exactly the same role, hit the same numbers, and there's your Peasant to Cody. Like it's simple maths. High ceiling players, like that's what we want. And
listen, Cody's always been a bit of a yo-yo in Supercoach. Had a couple of great years. But 7, I think we were even speaking about this on Sunday night, was just how fucking unstoppable the back-to-back 1-2 punch of Keon into Murray is. I mean, Keon, again, he's another one of these guys in this Stefano Naf White mold who, just watch him this weekend, like he fucking never gets put in his back. He'll stand in the tackle, maybe shake him off, get a play the ball before the markers are set. And guess who's running behind the ruck after that? Mr. fucking find his front himself, Cam Murray. But then a rapid play the ball. You've then got 2 quick momentum play the balls. And then you got fucking Walker pushing on the advantage line after that with Fifi and Trell outside of him. Yeah. I mean, in terms of teams being able to go downhill, I think Souths are going to be up there, man. What do you reckon?
Yeah, Fifi, do you love me?
Yeah.
Being a Bunnies fan, man, this is the first time I feel like I'll be ready to, throbbing and ready to spurt sauce almost every game. Just the way I look at it, if we're specifically talking about Cody Walker, right? If you look at the last few years, since Adam Renault's gone, he's been that main man, but we have not had the team around him, whether through injuries, whether through depth, like, even being a Bunnies fan, having Isaiah Tass and fucking Bailey Bentley Harpe out there, like it does nothing for you. I never ever felt like we had points that weren't just going to come randomly through a shift, which Cody set up himself. We've now got difference makers. You look at the backs, if he sweeps either side, you've now got Ashton Ward who's out. Jaden Sullivan comes in. Being an avid Bunnies fan and watching him closely, Jaden Sullivan's mid. You can say what you want. I promise you, and you can probably vouch for this being a Dragons fan, V. Yes, he's been taken under the Bunnies' wing. We love him at the club, but it's like he's a bit of a nothing player. He doesn't have the best footy brain. It's like he's this shape master. Everything this year in our attack is going to go through Cody. And I think that was evident on Sunday. I think at his price, to not bring him in for – man, I think he could realistically finish as a top 5'8" for the year. Call me crazy, but there is going to be that much going through him. He is our dominant half, and I don't think there's another 5'8" in the comp this year who will be relied on in juxtaposition against their halfback more than Cody Walker. Yep. Correct me if you think another example, but everything is going to go through him. And I think we have points in our team. Look at our 13. We're going to be scoring, I reckon, minimum 24 to 30 a week. Honestly, we have points. So
I don't think
it mobile middles. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say the same thing. As long as South stay fit, like that pack is just so lethal. That 1-2 punches Reece touched on earlier. Like it is going to roll so many of these shit teams. It is going to have that skiing downhill effect. They're going to get pinged for set restarts because they can't handle Keon. They can't handle Cam Murray following him up. Like, and the ball just, there's space and time and weak defenses and tired defenses for Cody to run at.
And even if you're looking at who Cody's working off, and I think this is where even me, I don't think it's spoken about enough. If you look at our back five, Jai Gray, Campbell Graham, Alex Johnson, Jack White, and Latrell Mitchell, like that's one of the best back fives in the comp, and that's not me being a biased fan. Like, that is, mate, you've got Jack Whiten, international player, Stretch, who's an Origin player, AJ's a break about the Ken Irvine medal, Jai Gray doesn't stop, and you've got Trell. Like,
beat the Finns in the shootout, mate.
That's enough. We're moving on. That'll fair dinkum do me. Next game. Hit the next game.
No worries.
Jai Gray, best backline in the league.
Can we get a B segment about Emre Gula? You fucking cunt.
I ask you this, right? Like,
I'm not acting like Emre Gula is something he's not. He's a fat plotter, just like I was on the footy field, right? Respectfully. So I'm not acting like he's something he's not. It was a miracle he got that Vegas try. We move on from that. You're out here telling me Jai Gray is the second coming of Jesus and Souths have the best backline since
here we go. And it's about Jai Gray again. So again, this goes back to how many reasons.
Jai Gray game.
I don't understand why you're the only man I know who hates Jai Gray.
For our viewers, Sock has a bit of a hit list, and Jai Gray is captain coach of that. I mean, the Ricky family's not too far behind on the assistant coach, vice captaincy team, but Jai Gray has never really clicked with you, has he, Sock?
It could be worse. He could be Heath Mason.
Jai Gray, aka the Jesus of Suburbia, is not one of Sock's favorites, unfortunately.
Can I ask you guys this? I just want a yes or no answer, okay? So this is like assuming you had Cody on your side and another like decent 5'8". Would you play him against the Chooks?
Would I play Cody against the Chooks? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yes, just yes or no.
No, Sock, yes or no, mate?
Yeah. I just said, yeah, you'd have to. All right, settle down.
Okay.
What was your answer? What was your answer, 7?
A lot of early tension between me and this. Last year's grand final coming out a bit. I've got a bit of a grudge on the hedonistic demon master. So, yes.
Why don't you go pick up Dallin Watini Zalesniak again, mate?
All right. Would you play him against West?
We don't talk about that anymore. My answer would be a yes. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Would you play him against the Bye? No. Would you play him against the Dogs?
I think I'm second guessing anyone against the Dogs this year because I think they're going to be a defensive juggernaut.
Would you play him against Canberra?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
You would? Jeez, that's fucking... Brooksy didn't do too early. Saints, Melbourne. I guess what I'm getting at is like the draws kind of mix. I don't know if you want Cody as your number 158 based on that. I guess is what I'm saying.
I don't think this is necessarily a season long number 158, but if you need to plug him in there to do a job for 10 weeks, I think you could do a lot worse, is what I'm trying to say. Yes, I think eventually you'd want a second gun in there anyway, or even just upgrade Cody. But
you're right.
You could do a lot worse than have him there for 10 weeks or do a job.
100%. You could do a lot worse. You have Jonah Pezzett. So that's why I guess what what it all loops back to is like, do we have to get rid of Pezzett? Like, maybe not this week, but next week latest. I know Cody has a bye in round 4, but if we're
I don't even think I'm going to panic alarm on Pezzett yet anyway. It's round 1. Put it this way, he's not going down, is he?
I know.
So
that's it. But I guess we're just, again, this is all under the guise of like better teams with higher ceilings are going to dominate with downhill skiing. It's like, what's that chick's name who broke it? No, actually, you know what? That's a bad reference.
I thought we were talking about the fucking Ocean Street last month, a different type of skiing. So I'm glad that we
Just before we get onto the Chooks game, and we'll go over that quickly. Carter chimes in and says, "Brother, as a South fan, stop hyping us up so much. With each statement, one player gets injured for a month. South had a few injuries last year, did they? I don't want to talk about that. And then the Frogmeister. Listen, if there's one man I can't wait to lock horns with, Meriton.
Froggy.
It's the Froggy. One of the favourites of this show, isn't he?
Yeah, we love you, Froggy. We love Froggy.
Boys, all right, we're moving on to the Chooks and Wires game. 7, you and I both had Angus Crichton in this, who pumped out a nice 54. He conceded 3 penalties, a couple of errors. I'll tell you what, just as if I would give you the Chooks perspective of this, the composure is fucking terrible. Everything went against us in the first half, but we became really petulant. Loved just having a yarn with the Chooks, the referee. We tried to call his bluff. Didn't work out. 28 to 18. We're coming downhill. We're absolutely the better side at this point. We're cutting through them deluxe. Sammy Walker goes into Benaya Uelu mode. Had the Benayas, as he does, because he's Sammy Walker. Kicks one through. Capewell fucking does his best Ricky Ponting impression in that second slip and snaps one out of the air. That goes through. Egan Butcher's under the sticks. That's right. Egan Butcher is under the sticks, lads. We come home. We win that game eventually, but scoreline flattered the Wires. 3 tries off kicks. Not worried. Roosters 13 plus this weekend. 7, Gus Crichton.
Yeah.
So, let me just read out a couple of numbers here for you. So, obviously, he scored a try. Again, that was lovely. Naff White, quick play the ball. Sammy Walker flooding the middle inside the Teddy, out to Gus. Very reminiscent of that Melbourne Storm offense that we were just talking about. Gussie, 32 tackles, 1 missed, 9 runs, 3 penalties, 1 error. He was on tilt deluxe, wasn't he? Obviously, you give him this week. But, where are we at vis-a-vis Angus Crichton at Profit HQ?
I mean, look, with all of these statements as well, and again, my biggest learning last year was, with what I'm going to say, I really don't want to overreact round one. I've seen one game. I want more sample size. I want more data. I mean, if you're looking at the cold hard facts of it, he scored a try and he put up, he struggled to get to 50 in his second row with a big work rate. So I'm not hitting the panic.
No tackle breaks.
Yeah, I'm not hitting the panic alarms yet. I mean, he's the one I'm most worried about. The reason I say that is, we'll get to this later on the next game. I've got Isaiah Yeo and Fafita. Fafita's going nowhere. All the other guys on my cheapy crop that are doing a good job and going to make me money. Isaiah Yeo scored not too great in the game with 31 errors with fuck all ball in play anyway, so that's a bit of an anomaly. So, Gussie Crichton's the one I'm looking at out of them all, but it's 1 week. Everyone knows you go to Warriors, you play at that weird fucking time,
Yep, I agree.
Weird shit happens, Call it the fucking time zone difference or whatever the fuck's going on over there. But especially that Friday first game slot in New Zealand.
So dewy, eh? It's so dewy underfoot. Weird.
You never know what the fuck's doing, man. And we also talked about and, spoke a lot about in the preseason how the Chooks game, the Chooks draw to start the year is not ideal. I still think Gussie's a bit unders. Look, he's got 54. I'm not moving on. Move on. I'm not moving on yet. But, I mean, look, it's not the best signs. I just always get a bit sketchy as well, boys. You probably get this. Players, when they're on their way out, it's no secret. Obviously, this is Gus's last year, I believe, before he fucks off.
Yep.
You call me superstitious and I get weird about this stuff, but it's like, how committed is he? He's got AC flow. He's doing his hair fucking cutting. Yeah. He's just had he's just had a kid or about to have a kid. Had a kid. Now popped.
I can see you. I can see you've been watching more Instagram reels than you have footy trials this year, Jugas.
Yeah, well, I was actually on Misso's Instagram. I'm like, oh, there's AC flow. So,
listen, we've crossed paths, put it that way, at one point, haven't we?
I believe they have a kid now. He's got his hairdressing business. He's hot. He's fucking Angus Crichton cunt. He's going to rugby next year. It's like, the reason I'm just watching him closely is how much of a fuck does he give a fuck? He's at a glamour club where, they go there for the money. They've got a shit culture now,
Moving on. Nat Butcher sock. What do you reckon, mate? Obviously, pumped out fucking 1,000 tackles playing outside Cherry Evans. Tackled his ass off so much that he was caught in the middle a few times, and we had a combination of Blake Steep and Lindsay Collins outside Cherry Evans for, weird phases of the game. That Butcher just gave one of the most honest 72s you'll ever see. Then we wake up. Oh, well, we're going about our business on a Tuesday afternoon. Some are closing deals, others are shaking hands and kissing babies and doing what they can with a tape measure. And then we find out that he's been Siwa Wonged, who I believe you commented in our little group chat here. Siwa Wong's right shoulder is going to get 9/11'd by David Fafita. Would you like to allude on that?
I don't know that I use those words, but mate, it will get blown off. I mean, look, it's kind of inexplicable, right? Like, obviously, the Chooks didn't really hold up the gloves defensively last week. The one guy that did hold up the gloves defensively, Nat Butcher, has somehow been demoted. Bit strange from Robbo. Maybe he had something else in his French cooking this week. Disappointing, man. Like, I think he now becomes players like that now become a sell, particularly. With this glitchy 6-man bench, as I said, there's going to be weeks where he gets on, weeks where he doesn't. If that's the way the Chooks are going to move, for me, I'm going to hold till about an hour before kickoff, see the team list. If he's on the bench, see you later, Nat Butch. It was a great 72. Appreciate it. One night in Nat Butch was enough for me.
Indeed. Quite a lot of gibberish alone. Sammy Walker. Be patient. Sammy Walker fans, he'll be absolutely fine. Again, the Chooks are going to score a lot of points this year. He'll be the reason for that. And then James Timmy, the GOAT, Tedesco, 92, try assist, 11 tackle breaks. I mean, mate, Tedesco's my age, and look at what he's doing, and I'm not. I don't know why I have to make that about me, but he's fucking that good. I love that guy. Life membership. He's got 100 tries in 120 games or something for the Roosters, by the way.
Reece, can I ask you, like, as a lifelong Teddy fan and an avid, you'll preach to anyone who'll listen that Teddy is the best Supercoach player of the last decade. Yeah, mate. When is he viable? When does he become a trade in?
Great question. There's an argument to bring him in versus South this week. Like, he always pumps South, just traditionally. Then we have the Panthers after that. Again, Friday night, glitchy time slot, 6 p.m. SFS will probably be there. But, I don't love that on paper. Then we play Manly on a Thursday night in round 4. So, if you bring him in, you're not bringing him in next week. You're probably not bringing him in the week before the bye. You got to bring him in this week because he will go big. I hope he doesn't. Well, I hope he does. It's so conflicted. But then we go over to Perth after the bye because I play for the team. Against the Sharks. So he'll be in my side for that road trip out west. Then the Roosters play Newcastle, and then we go 51 plus against Saints on Anzac Day after that. Then Broncos, Titans, Cows. So, yeah, he's in for me.
Yeah,
I won't be able to get him this week. But it'll be post-buy, and I just got to hope that he doesn't fucking do 150 and be out of price range. Another great target, Mark Nawangani Tawase. 10 tackle breaks in his 60, no tries. Again, one of these guys that we just love to see him not score for the next couple of
3 or
weeks.
4 weeks. Yeah.
That's perfect. And then from the Waz, no one, whatever, there's a few, but for the sake of not going too long, there's just one thing I want you boys to both note. Ali Leotawa, probably one of the worst one-on-one defenders in the NRL. Billy Smith gave him one of the great baths. He got skinned a couple of times in the trials as well, one-on-one. Any gibberers listening to this, get on Seb Chris anytime this weekend. Leotawa's got no answers for them. He just falls off everything.
I think we've lost 7 here, mate. Seven seems to be on a different planet having another conversation with someone else. Mate.
Nah, boys, still listening. My new roommate just came home drunk and just looking at me flopped his Steve Menzies out. So he's pretty excited. He's had a few beers. He was just telling me about a trifecta he's won, and then my gambling endorphins went off. So.
That's awesome. Listen, we've got 3 games to go. 7, I'll let you take this one away. This is going to be your time to justify why you love missionary sex, why you love boring Supercoach play, and why the fuck would you captain a prop in round 1? Payne Haas, Tell us. Give us your excuse, mate.
First of all, leave missionary sex out of this. Very passionate, very loving. When you've got a connection, nothing quite hits like missionary. So I guess for me, Reece, if you take it back to my preseason, not a big start guy, trying to find true love guy. So what do I think? Do I want dirty doggy with a fullback? Do I want to fucking have reverse cowgirl with a cowboy and Scotty Drinkwater? Or do I want to have a nice, comfortable night with Payne Haas, or Hakeem, a guy who's going to sit me down and treat me well?
Right.
He's not going to leave first thing in the morning. He's going to get his kid ups. He's going to get his meters. So, yeah, all right, in hindsight, pretty cowardly. But after a pretty startless and devoid of love preseason, Missionary felt like a good place to start my season. So, look, this week I've reattached my testicles and I'll be looking to do a bit more. But, look, do I regret going missionary sex? No. But, fuck, mate, it's never an exciting watch, is it? And, I think when you do these things, I'm always a big believer in playing defensive footy, going for the 2 points when you've got all the momentum. And when you do this weird defensive shit, you get punished. Yeah. Of course, the week I try and get a bit of missionary sex, when I normally love doggy, I like spitting on cunts. When I try and go for missionary, we get the highest scoring round one in what felt like forever. So it just shows you, when you try and be more genuine, put your hand on the throat, metaphorically. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. But
well said. So 65 for half.
By that, like I touched on before, I actually heard a stat, or I think I was looking through, there was something around about 33 errors in this game on Friday, boys. So I think that was by far the lowest game where the ball was in play. So like a lot of these guys, you Walshes, even Cleary got 65 in a game they scored, a fuckload of points. I think it was always going to be a weird game. Not quite the grand final rematch, but kind of felt like it after last year to a degree.
Yeah.
So I think for both of these teams, I'm not taking too much away. They're going to roll through a lot of other teams. So I think that one's kind of, look, it is what it is. Let's kind of see them when they're not going up against what could be two of the premier teams in the comp again. Although Madge is under heaps of pressure.
Can I throw it straight back to you? Isaiah Yeo, preseason spreadsheet darling. Guilty. He only played 60 odd minutes.
Yeah.
Cogger again, little guy through the middle. Again, it's weird, humid Brisbane March game. I don't know. But if Yo comes out and does 60 minutes again, how quickly is he out of your side on Tuesday?
Not very at all.
I know, man.
Not very at all. I think Yo in 60 most weeks is still putting up more than a game with that's got a bit more going on. And how often do you actually think he's paying 60? Is that, you correct me if I'm wrong, but is that just because they were up, that's protecting the league? Was that a round one thing? Was it a niggle, or what are we?
I noticed in the trials, he had his fucking elbows strapped, like it was that condom on your head before. So I wonder if it's just like a bit of he's got a lot of miles on him. He's played however many games over the last 5 years, Origin, Australia. Does Ivan kind of see the regular season now as like, not tanking's the wrong word, but load management? Does he kind of have
they can do it. Yeah, they're one of the few teams that can afford to fuck around and do that shit. But I think it's a watch, like you said. It's round one. I'm not overreacting. I don't think Isaiah Yeo wants to be a guy that does 60 every week. I think if he's fit enough, he's playing 80. So I think it's a
agree.
for now.
Sorry to interrupt there, boys. I did watch Matty and Cronk earlier this week, and they spoke about this exact same issue and Jack Cogger.
Right.
And they love the idea of Cogger coming in and playing that 20 minutes at 13 to kind of free up Nath. Just like, let's Nath reset. They went back to the 2013 grand final where Ivan's told Cogger to come in and just be the dude for 20 minutes and just take all the pressure off Nath. Let Nath play like eyes up and just Cogger leads the team. And they spoke about that exact thing, the game speeding up again with these more set restarts. They actually think with a six-man bench, you're more likely to see someone like Cogger take 20 minutes off Isaiah Yeo. So
wow.
I'm in the separate camp where I'm sitting there going, again, like we're talking this year, there's that many guys that are 300, 400K who are going to churn out 60 to 70 points every week, at this point. Are you sitting there with someone who could have their minutes affected? Because Yo is getting older. He's got to be in his, early mid-30s at this point, basically?
It's like 32, I think.
Yeah, so, like as you said, he's been up for so long. Now's the time where they can get someone like Cogger minutes and they can kind of spread it around a bit more. So, realistically, I think it's it's something where, if you don't own Isaiah Yeo, now I wouldn't necessarily be selling him, but I'm not rushing to buy him either.
No, like he's not going to lose value, man. Like he's still going to pump his 60 and 60. But,
Correct.
Again, if you can get a Lasardi, probably a poor example, but I guess you know what I'm saying.
Noah Martin. Who can play 80 on the air.
Noah Martin. That's how. One fella that really caught my eye, he only pumped out a 57. He played 60-odd minutes. Was Isaiah Papali'i, who I believe, Sock, you said has on-the-spot syndrome. Do you want to care to explain what that means?
Mate, right time, right place. He seems to be kissed on the dick with it. Kind of the opposite of the Arama Howe experience, which we'll get into later, where was right there, but also not right there at the same time. IPAP just sort of seems to be there when the ball bounces and a gap opens up for him to just cross over. He is there. Like it's a glitchy happens off a kick. He's there. The offload goes to ground. He's there to pick it up and put it over the try line. Like it's weird. He's playable, must have. If he's on an edge, he's must have every week.
No doubt. Whether he gets a straight 80 or not, time will tell. They've obviously got Martin coming back. He plays on the right. Papali's been on the left. But then you got Garner. Sorensen's now, it looks like he's turned into a middle. Again, another guy that's aging. They've turned into a middle rotation guy.
Leaving as well next year.
Correct. Mate, if I set my team up well enough, I'd have Papali'i in there straight away this week. I'd figure out a way to get him in. I just think he has that much upside. I love that left-hand side of Penrith. We could fucking spend an hour on how much we love Blaze Talangi and Casey McLean, the three of us. But, you got Nath feeding him early ball. You can flick an offload away. Again, you got Blaze, who played really well as a fullback at Para, running off him. He'll break tackles. He always goes close to scoring. He went close to scoring a couple of times. He made a few errors. But, Isaiah Papali'i at fucking 4% owned, starting on the left edge for Penrith. The draw's not incredible the next few weeks. They got Sharkies, Chooks, Para. Actually, that's pretty good. Melbourne, Dogs, round 7, Titans, Newcastle. So he's probably in around that time. But I don't know. Again, I'm of that mentality. We've got to chase other positions now. But Papali'i is fair income top 5 2RF for me this year. Just a matter of opportunity. That's pretty much it on that game. We already talked about Nath. He'll be fine. Hakeem Haas will be fine. However, if Payne Haas does another 60 this week, 7, not that he's shit. Obviously,
move on. Mate, if you think I'm moving out Payne Haas to your team, at the end of the day, right, my whole strategy this year, and look at the cheapy crop we have, why the fuck are you going to trade out guys like Payne Haas? I understand the Angus Crichton and those guys, but mate, fair fucking dinkum. Let's not lose our.
So you can get Fletcher Sharp in, mate.
Would
you rather? Okay, let me ask you this: Would you rather Payne Haas or Fletcher Sharp? Gun to your head. Who are you taking?
Payne Haas.
Idiot.
Okay. Yeah. What did you finish last year, champ? In my first year, rookie season shit.
Hey, listen, I came 11th once. All right.
Seven. While you're there, why don't you ask for the champ what he thinks, eh?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. It must be nice on that Reece Walsh ivory tower, cunt. I'll stick with my first one.
Boys, just before we get into the final couple of games, we've had a little punt come in, and I think we should all get on it ASAP. So maybe screenshot this so you can go to your local terminal tomorrow. We've got Seb into Shiba, into AJ, into Hey Makasini for 28.62. Do we love that or what? Fucking hell, that's a great shout, bro.
I'm just wondering if Makasini gets over, will you whip out the Macarena in the middle of Beach Road?
Oh, fucking oath. Mate, I might. So nice, he does it twice. Hey, Makasini. But he's playing the centers. So who's his matchup? Left center, right center of the Cows is who?
Purdue?
Not Val anymore. Purdue's left.
No, it'd be Tom Chester, mate. Tom Chester.
Yeah, it's Chester.
Tommy Chester. Mr. Off Night.
He could probably blow off Chester's left shoulder.
And then the final comment here before we get to the other game is from Froggy. He says, "Where's Socko's chest tat?"
There it is, baby boy.
Does it mean what it is, or where is it? It's on his chest, Froggy.
It's there. It's there, baby boy.
Boys, the next game, we all own Keanu Kinney. Again, one of these ones I'm happy to probably write off a round one performance. He's always up and around the ball. looked great for New Zealand last year. Just fear that, there's going to be these kind of days for him if the Titans are getting drowned through the guts. But, if you don't have a Failongo like you or me, Socky, is there a little sideways thing happening next week? Or do you just back the fact that they play the Cowboys the week after?
I think it's all relative, right? Like if Sewer goes for 50 this week, you're probably not having to rush out to do that. But if Fairlogo tons, probably, right? Like same price basically, and one's going to make you cash, one's just going to sit there. And look, I think the Titans, like whilst they're a vibey side, they feel like they might have turned a corner. You've got guys like that, like Cooper, Bye coming in. Who you're sitting there go, he looks great. He looks like a first grader through and through. But there's still just something not right with them. They're going to be on the losing end of games more than they're on the winning end, particularly under the new structure that we've spoken about.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And that end game, lads, again, is fucking Teddy Walsh turbo, I reckon. So it's like, what's the quickest route there? The cunt is going to give you on the best elevator ride. So that's the one with the lowest break.
That's the one who's going to make the most cash. Yeah,
I just think though, like realistically, like if you're moving Kinney on this week, you're doing too much. There's so many other things you can look at the moment.
Hold this week.
I think Kinney is a foreseeable hold for the future unless something happens because he's a fucking gun. And Titans will get better. They'll get Jaden Campbell back. Chill on Kinney. It's that everyone in the Supercoach should have him. If you don't, I think you got fucking rocks in your head. So.
Seven, I'll throw straight back to you. A bloke that you and Socko both owned, Kale Iro.
Yep. Punters, don't overreact. Yeah, don't overreact. Don't send into the Irosphere yet. Like, at the end of the day, Iro was one of, if not the most consistent centers last year. Obviously, with the new scoring system as well, we're expecting an uptick from centers. We saw it over the weekend, that last pass. That's going to happen a lot. I almost feel like the issue against the Titans is they are so dog shit that the attack's coming from everywhere. Against a team that's more sturdy and they're going to go to their actual set plays and their shape that they go to more, when they're not rolling through what looks like a Harold Matz outfit. Iro's going to find some points. He's a center. He works hard. So, yeah, definitely not hitting the panic station on that yet. And then, for the ones that do, it becomes more of a pud. So, fuck you all. I'll take those points while you fall off. Don't panic. If you have cheapies, if you lose 80K on Iro, it does not fucking matter. Like, there's enough. If you're trading out a gun to get a gun back in, you've just used 2 trades for what? You've got those cheapies doing that money. So just hold. If we get 3 40s in a row, then we can revisit that.
Great score for non-owners like me. Another couple of 40s would be great for you, KL. A bloke that I owned and bravely, famously, iconically captained, sweet Nico Hines. Tricky had the hot hand. They scored 50 points and Nico didn't register a TA. But, as I've always said, boys, let Tricky cook. And Nico just kind of ran off the back of that. Couple of lovely little fan shapes, they call it, I believe, where he's just skirting around the back, playing that fullback role. Didn't have to do much, picked his spots. Again, they're another one of these teams. You get a good play the ball from AFB. Colquhoun can find his front pretty well as well. Rudolph's got a lot of energy off the bench. Mate, Brayley is that fucking good at understanding when they have a roll on. And I'd say he's quicker than Grant, don't you reckon? Brayley, when he gets out.
For sure. I was having a look under the hood of him because I didn't actually double check. I was so fixated on Nico and Iro. What did he put up? 82 in a pretty big drubbing, and there probably wasn't too much. 45 base, yeah. I mean, you probably had better eyes. How did you think he looked in, I guess, as an attacking part of that team? Not too many attack stats.
Just before we move on, there's been a keen observation by Saxo, who's now said that this has descended into something kind of something erotic. So again, he's probably putting 2 and 2 together. Saxo is like the summer. Soccer's got a note on the wall. We're sleeping in his living room at the moment.
Can I ask what Saxon expected, mate? We're talking about men tackling other men for a living here, right? In short shorts. So, mate, I don't know what you fucking expected other than a grinder pod. It's 3 boys. We got our ox out and we're ready to rock.
Nico looks fucking awesome. Get him in as soon as you can, boys. Get him in as soon as you can. Last one. Oh, sorry, two more. The Manly Raiders game. I don't think any of us owned anybody. Oh, that's right. I own Noah the Ark Martin, you dumb cunts. He scored a double.
Victory
Did you
lap.
see it? Well, at least we had money on it, to be fair. So that helps. That softens the blow for you.
Well,
you lads
we
there.
use you in sock, mate. I drained myself on the Russian table tennis the night before, so quite missed Noah Martin just by a couple of lets, mate.
I don't think he'll play 80 every week. That's been the kind of discourse this week, which, I mean, they got Simi Sasangi on the bench. Tomoko will come back in. Are you looking at a 60-minute kind of roll on the edge there? Maybe. I don't know. Either way, he's obviously a complete must-have. Seven, what were your comments there that he looks like Queanbeyan or something? He's the face of Canberra?
Put it this way: if you Google Canberra and it's not a photo of Noah Martin, then I don't believe it's really Canberra, mate. The bloke just looks like, you just know that he's stepdad wasn't that nice to him as a kid, and that's fine, and that's fine for Noah Martin because it's turned into the fucking dog that he is. You know what I mean? So, he just looks like someone that, fuck, mate, he'll go to war for Ricky. A lot of the other boys will as well, but if you weren't going to bring him in, I'm not even going to reason as to why you need to. It's there. It's sitting there saying purchase me. Matty Nicholson's now up for what? Expecting 8 to 12. So,
yep.
The only issue is I'm not sure what's doing with the center spot. Ricky also likes Simi Sasangi. I'm not sure if that's a rotation or if that changes anything, but regardless, you get him in and it looks like he's playing 80, but I wouldn't be surprised again if something with Sasangi changes because he's not a center. That's not going to be a long-term thing.
No, he got exposed a couple of times as well.
Mate, he's just turned up and he's at what basement price. So
but Noah's bum Tosco, right? Like let's someone who we're all big on, right?
Yeah, true.
Reese, I know Reese and I and Seven sort of I just sit there and I wonder, like, man, maybe there is something to this kid. Maybe he is just ready, and like Ricky's seen that. And like, to be fair, man, he's gone out and rewarded the faith. Like that play where he scored off KO Weeks is kind of crabby across field. That's just an effort kind of play. That's like, right, there's something going on there. I'm going to push up. I'm going to push up. I'm going to push up.
100%
instinct.
Like
instinct.
That kind of stuff is
instinct.
stuff that the coaches will look at and have you in first grade over someone else. So I actually kind of feel like we might have turned a corner here, and we like Noah Martin. The spot's his to lose. Personally, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I mean, he's fucking selected there, mate. I mean, obviously it's his to lose.
Well, yeah, but like over Sasangi, like even when Tomoko comes back, I'm saying Sasangi, like they'll find somewhere else for him to play.
Yeah, you're right. I just thought you're mentioning Ricky. I thought it was kind of funny watching the coverage, how it's absolutely pissing down. Shout out Josh Dugas on the hill.
Mate, yeah. Like, can I quote? I don't deserve to be this good and lose. So it was tough.
Ricky Stewart standing there on the sideline, like doesn't even have a hood on his head. He's just letting the rain hit him. And he's just so fucking dramatic. I love it. The other one from the Raiders that I want to just bring up to you boys is Savilio Tamale. I heard of him, Sock. That's right. You let him go, mate. Another great Saints recruitment decision there. He only pumped out 50 odd, but they didn't have the pill for fucking 30 minutes of that game. They're on the back foot. Mate, I went back to watch, again, knock AFP at the door, the replay last night, see how Turbo was looking. Mate, Tamale, fair income, he looks bigger, stronger, faster, like he's been on Icarus with the Russian Paralympic team. Breaking tackles at will. They'd throw three at him, he'd throw one off. Like, he's that strong, that dynamic. He's going to be fucking up there, all in base, that 50-odd as well, by the way, base power. Again, like Marky Mark, like whoever else we've kind of mentioned tonight, just love a month of no tries with him. We can get Tamale for bloody.
The only thing that worries me about with Tamale is, and even last year, like he is. There's players I put in two categories: pleasure to own, not a pleasure to own. Someone like Tamale's a pleasure to own; he's fun to watch. Someone like Drinky, I fucking get anxiety every time. It looks like he doesn't want it now. Just with Tamale, though, I thought the same last year, and he's a base monster, but he's not he just doesn't have that skill where he's a prolific try scorer yet. And I watch when the Raiders play, they know that. He's not the type of winger that's going to get a lot of ball on those ones at the end to charge over, because you look at someone like Xavier Savage, who is a finisher. Tamale's a gun footy player, but he's not a finisher. So the only thing that worries me is last year he didn't score that much. I actually don't think there'll be a huge uptick of how much. He will be one of those rare kind of there's one of those rare old school kind of throwback guys where I don't think he's ever going to be a good try scorer, at least not yet at this point in his career, until he gets a bit more silky.
Can I give you a counterpoint, Seven?
I love it.
He's done Kale Hero numbers, doing the same thing he did this week. He's done better, and again without the pill. Like and he's 200K cheaper. You know?
Yeah, but Stock, is this about Tamale or is this about Hero? Because you've been pretty angry since Saturday.
No. Like I'm just saying, like devil's advocate, right? Like if you're gonna sit there and have like a high performing outside back, like who's going to be able to deliver 50 even in a game where they don't see attacking sort of flow, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty good option, and he's at the right price at the moment for that.
For sure,
and particularly if he goes through a couple of drops.
Well, that's the thing. I almost feel like and that's the thing. I feel like there's so many good options. Again, fuck, mate, we could be wrong, but I feel like he's pretty fairly priced. I don't look and go, it's a steal, but I wouldn't belittle anyone for going that, but I think he's pretty accurately priced, but I think this is a bit more value elsewhere. He's in that awkward price range for this year. I'd rather a cheapie or a fucking out-and-out gun with so much, like, cheapies on the market.
Now, Reece, I've got a question for you, mate. You are one of the biggest TT apologists, mate. Tommy Turbo, when he bring him in, he's not in your squad yet, but I have a feeling he might be this weekend. You verse me and Seven. I feel like that'll be your little surprise, boys. Here's my Tommy Turbo.
Yeah, Turbo's played 19 games at Brookvale in the since 2021. 19 games at Brookvale since 2021. He averages 91 in those games. Now, I'm guessing it's probably more because, he was probably hurt in about a third of them as well. One of the gibberers, I think it may have been Cade, shout out to you, mate, he was going on all preseason about if Turbo doesn't have strapping, you got to have him in, which is such a great call. Like, how often have we seen fucking Turbo with just like a little bit of rogue strapping on the knee, or like he's favoring something? The strapping Turbo theory. I didn't see any strapping on him on the weekend. He couldn't have been quickly enough in my side on Monday at 11, whatever it was, a.m. And the straight C has been slapped on him. So, Seven, I'll see you in the finals, I guess, mate, after whipping that home on Sunday, Arvo. You got to, like, it's simple as this. Like, if Turbo's healthy, like, he's the best player in the game. Like, I on Supercoach or not, is that like too much of a hot take? Or like, am I?
It's not at all. It's not at all. And this is the thing. It's like, I think the thing that we all feel as Supercoach junkies, scratch, itch, is, you get caught in the two minds of, fuck, it seems like the obvious play. It's also round one. And, I did this last year with the Fletcher Sharps. I got the Fletcher Sharps and it fucking derailed me. I got the Ryan Pappenhauses and that derailed me. And it's like, fuck, everything else aside, it's Turbo in daytime footy at Brookie against the fucking Knights. So it's like, are we all really missing a fucking huge layup by not getting Turbo this week if we don't? Is this the second coming of Pappy against the Tigers? Like, it's not a fucking crazy thought. But then the other thing is, mate, the cunt could get an injury 20 minutes in. Like, the history's there, the form's there. So
of course.
I don't think I'll be making the move this week.
He has a bye next week as well, right? He's got a bye next week. So
and the only thing that makes me worried is I also heard rumors coming out that he would have been strapped, but they blew the budget on Jake's Vietnam 3000 head cap in a medical tent. So, was the no strapping by choice? Is that gone straight to Jake's dome? They already spent enough on the Trebojevic medical bill. So it's hard to say, mate. It's a wait and see.
Look, he has a bye next week, so I think if you bring him in this week, you got to put the C on him and hope he does 120 because that's 240 points over 2 weeks, right? Mate, I can't stress enough how much I love the matchup versus that Newey right edge defense. Murray Tawalangi, easy double of his life against Dom Young in Vegas. You got little Lehigh, Hopewade, and Tolu Kola. They're going to run so much shape down the left there. Tommy's going to feast. He's going to go himself, throw cut out, fucking whatever, feed Kola. Yeah, mate, I think it's all kind of lining up, but I completely understand why he wouldn't. Yeah. The other side of it is if you don't bring Turbo in this week and you're looking for a gun fullback, it's going to have to be Tedesco or Walsh, assuming you already have the other guys. I will bring to you that Walsh plays Storm next week in Melbourne, and then Tedesco plays the Penrith. So whilst they could go well this week, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but
I guess
I
just
don't
one
think-
more.
What I was going to say
Bad
is
of an
like I
option.
think
They've got one
well,
game.
what other thing you're saying is like is realistically the only like playable one out of those three, and probably worth trading in is Turbo, right? I mean, I think Walsh has a lot of value to lose, and I think Brisbane are going to be a slow start again. I feel like they're going to build into the season quite like soccer, and his super coach fanatics. So, hey, look, I think you hold off on Walsh and Teddy, and if you're going to bring in one of those guns who you want to have all year, it's Turbo. But I think there's enough value there still in guys like Sewer,
100%.
still in guys like KP, all that. You don't need to be rushing out. In saying that, as a Supercoach player, my number one most hated, and you observed this earlier today, Reece, player was Tommy Turbo. If you don't own him, you almost can't watch the game. It's
tough
almost
watch. Mate, he's only 3.1% captain this week as well, which is what Nico was last week. So
Just one final thought on that as well from my musings from last year is the amount of times I fucked myself because I was like, I don't want to trade that player and there's the buy. Like, who gives a fuck, man? If you're trading someone in, everyone's going to have the buy at some point. So I think whatever decision you do make on Turbo, have that irrelevant to the buy. Like make that decision based on merit. The buys are relevant. You're still going to be there. Someone else has a buy the following week. It is what it is.
Well said, mate. Just two other guys from Mount that caught my eye. I think we all mused about this when it happened. Is Tolu Kola? I mean, fair dinkum.
Wow.
One of the nicest movements. Mate, when he burnt Strange. Remember when Strange last year in that game in Mudgee, he burnt Nath on the outside and then stepped Edwards. Hey Ethan, revenge is a dish best served cold, mate. Because Kola just did the same thing to you. That fend. I think Strange even face planted off the back of that. Like, you don't often see that. We love Ethan Strange on this. On this
ankles
podcast.
were broken, mate. Ankles were broken.
Yeah, he got flattened, man. And the other guy that looks fucking great is Taniela Paseka. I actually saw a quote during the week last week where he said he wants to play Origin this year, Paseka. Again, everyone wants to play Origin. But I don't know, man. I watched that again last night. He'd gone that close to scoring a couple of tries. Canberra have got a great middle. So he wasn't getting through, but mate,
he's a fucking big boy, man. What is he? 6'8", 6'7"? He's fucking huge, man. Like, I'm a bit.
Well, his minutes are only set to go up as well because I think Takiaho has a bit of a little nip.
And keep in mind, Paseka's also coming back from some injury layoff. So, as he gets more and more into it, man, everyone knows how skinny Manly's middles are. That's no secret. When you got Paul Bryan as coming off the bench and shit. So.
Listen, man, if you got Yo and he's doing 60 minutes, I'd argue that Paseka is a better option than Yo. Because he's 300k cheaper and will give you 5 to 10 points variance, maybe even more, maybe even closer.
The only quick fuck you I want to give to you, Reece Wynn, is I had Paseka in there from day dot, and then I think you kind of hoodwinked me into Flegler over Paseka, and I'm not filthy on it, but Cam Wynn, if you're still listening, I wasn't the one who was fucked. So.
Hey, listen, man. That's why my name's Washed Winner. I got the same weight I used to have.
Hold on, proud Hopgood ownership over here. He led me off the edge of the cliff. Unfortunately, Reece had split at the last second.
Yeah. But it's just funny, seeing that, but then seeing Paseka and Reece's team, and I'm like, you're just a little snake, aren't you, cunt? So yeah, it's interesting.
He's not in my team. Just a couple of final ones here, boys. Keats, one of our great friends of the show. Pants off for Noah. Well, I actually don't have any pants on at the moment. We don't have shirts on, so we're halfway there.
Pants off for Keats, I'd say.
Pants off for Keats. Shout out to you, mate. Kingslayer, who the fuck knew Oswald Mosley knew so much about Supercoach? Sock, you were giggling at this before. Could you please explain this reference?
Hey, I have absolutely no idea who Oswald Mosley is. I've had to Google him in the background, and having a look at the image, I'm not sure whether it's a reference to you or Seven. It could be either or.
So Oswald Mosley was born in 1896 in Mayfair, London. So it's a deep cut reference from Kingslayer. He made it just to the tip of the 80s. He died in France in December. But it looks like he was a British politician.
If I'm eyeballing that, if I'm not Oswald Mosley, the world's gone mad, mate. Because I think that looks more like me than Sock.
It's got a bit of Seven about it. Yeah, it's got a bit of Seven about it. Yeah, is that what you asked the barber? Just give me the old Oswald Mosley, mate. Again.
Didn't quite catch that, mate. If that was to me.
All good. Herbie Farnworth, lads. Actually, wait, one more thing. This comes from Froggy. He says, okay, serious frog here. Question for yourself here, Vic V. Would you bring in this week Latrap in for Toe or Sanders in for Atco?
Oh, Sanderson.
First one, no. Like Toto's that same sort of gun syndrome. Look, he's kind of the Kalero, the other side of the Kalero equation. He's not going to go gangbusters probably this week. There probably won't be, a heap of points again against Cronulla. But the moment you trade him out, he's going to ton. The moment you trade in Trell, he's going to go for 20 and get sin bin. So you probably just leave that. You didn't go that route to start with. Back yourself there. Sanders in for Atkinson's an absolute no-brainer. So in terms of the I'm him battle, both games went to golden point. Sanders steps up, absolutely drills at first attempt. Atco, question marks deluxe on his attempts there at field goal. So look, Atco's a great player, don't get me wrong, but there's much more attacking upside, particularly for a young half behind a good forward pack, and that's probably a massive dub to the Raiders.
Tell you what, man, Sanders, remember when Humphries kicked that field goal against Saints last year and how we were cooling
famously, I remember it really well.
Yeah, young playmakers kicking one-pointers. Mate,
I call that the Sean Kepi game.
It was, right?
The Sean Kepi game, yeah.
Sanders, I love the body shape on Sanders. This is kind of niche, but he just reminds me so much of Hugo Sabala, the kind of tall ball-playing dude through the middle, just hold his own, very composed. Love the cut of his jib. They've also got Kobe Black, who apparently Rugby League Guru says the best ball player of this generation. He hasn't even played in the NRL yet, so they're going pretty well. They're the Raiders, but Froggy, to answer your question, right off is that weird game in Brizzy. You obviously give him another opportunity. Latrap looked good though, man. Again, he doesn't have to do much. Latrap, similar to Faolongo. Again, South's just got that rolling through the middle, and he's just going to benefit so much from the attention for Fifi. And Latrell's arguably more destructive than Fafita, like one-on-one. So I wouldn't fault anyone for bringing in Latrap, but he won't score well this week. And then one more thing here comes from Dr. Whoever. Why does Socko have a frame water painting of Will Kennedy on his wall? Okay, that's if Seven
Move
spit
on.
in the mouth and didn't get cancelled before. To China or Kalen Pingers as a trade from Drinky this week to facilitate Turbo. Fuck.
Ponga
this week to. I honestly think if you're freeing up a bit of cash, I wouldn't knock you for either option. Ponga's the more regimented, experienced vet. You know what he does, but can also have games where he goes off the ball. Bear in mind, Ponga also started very fast last year and then pretty quickly became a tough watch. Farlonger's the new hot cock there, right? He's still got pubes. He hasn't even shaved them. He doesn't give a fuck. So I think Farlonger is a funner experience. And you're watching Melbourne play every week. Let's just remember what I was saying before. Not much changes that quickly. For all we know, we're in 3 weeks' time. We're watching Knights. It's boring as fuck, and you're watching them get booed at McDonald Jones because they've scored 15 points again for the 4th week in a row. So, but there's a reality that happens. How often does this shit happen? We think a team's turned a corner and they haven't. They were still equal favourites or close to get the spoon. So I'm not sold yet on the Knights. I'm just not.
Well, the thing about the fans of Newcastle 7 is, they don't understand rugby league, according to AOB. So, they're not right to boo. I think to answer your question, looking at the draws there, man, Kel, you'd probably have to go Sewer. Again, Sewer will be a great and a tough watch. He's going to be on 20 after 50 minutes. He's just that kind of guy. But then he'll just go bang, 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 and, very much like Drinky, to be fair. Melbourne play Saints, Bronx, Cows, Penrith. Just kind of mixed. And then Newey play the Dogs in Canberra. So I don't know is the answer.
Ponga feels more playable every week, I think. Sewer feels more matchup based in if you're talking, you've got Turbo and everyone else there. That's just
let me leave you with this, Kel. Ponga is missionary, Farlonger is doggy. Pick your poison.
That's the answer. Last game, 7. I'll let you take it away. Talk to us about what you saw with Keon and Cody, please, mate.
Man, Like, yeah, LeBron. Like, first of all, LeBron, me, like, is this really my life? Like, it feels good to be back as a Bunnies. After years of just the NRL gods and the injuries and what we've gone through as a club. But no, like I'm saying, look, I think everyone at the start of the year was probably on the same train that I was, where you wanted the Cam Murray, you had Fafita in there, Cody was a great cheapie to have. And then Cam Murray was almost the one that I cut because I was like, fuck, I don't want too many stocks in one team, right? And it felt like, could this be a bit trappy? Do we kind of ease him back? Man, he's Cam Murray. He's a fucking dog. He gets through work all the time. He tackle breaks. He tackles his dick off, fuck, man, if you want to bring him in, what is he at? 5'10", 5'20 odd?
Murray?
Yeah.
5'50.
48. As you boys know, I made a really late change in the week and I brought Keon in. Mate, the cunt ran for 200 meters in the first fucking half. Like, he put that up in, I'd say, about 65 minutes. I think he came off about a 15-minute stint, if that. Kid's got a motor, man. And, like, Keon's usually pretty good to jag an attacking stat or two. That 77 was fuck all going on. Like, he's actually pretty decent for a try. You get him close to line. He's a big boy. He's hard to stop, man. Like, if you don't have Keon, I think he's a guy that you want to get up to ASAP. Like, I think he could almost be Payne Haas-esque this year in work he gets through and consistency he's putting down. And then lastly, the other person I'll touch on, look, Trell. I had Trell in my team all lead up. I'm actually not too angry about getting rid of him. Only reason was that freed up Moses Leo. That got Keon in my team. So, like, Trell's someone I'm probably going to get later in the year anyway. But Cody Walker, man, we've already touched on Cody. We already had like a 5-minute segment on him. But I just think if you don't have Cody, I think you could be a Roosters fan. It could be a pride thing that's stopping you, whatever it might be. But like, mate, as a Bunnies fan, we watches, all these games with a fine-tooth comb. Everything is going to go through him this year. He'll be sweeping both sides. And no matter where he's going, he's got players to pass to. His kicking game's outstanding. Forced dropouts galore. He's putting in that final kick every time or the final pass. I just don't see how you can justify not bringing him in if you don't have him with the other options that are there.
Yeah, well said. Just loop back to that fact. Understand, can't play him every week though. Like, he's absolutely fine to have it that second 5'8". I just don't see a world where you'd want to do it to yourself where he's your primary 5'8". But
I actually, specifically this year though, and we'll see how this pans out. I got laughed at last year for my Katoa prediction after round 2. So I think Cody Walker this year, just based on how shit our depth is at the halfback spot, it could actually turn out to be someone who is very playable every week because he's never, ever had this much responsibility with the combination of the weapons around us. So I will challenge that, but look, we'll see how it pans out. It's round 1, isn't it? So
I guess last couple of ones to touch on, boys, before we wrap it up here on the Finns side of things, who look like going to be a great team to punt on this year again. Just fucking over. It's like your turn, my turn kind of thing. Herbie Farnsworth, who I believe was actually referred to as Farnsworth in the commentary once again. Like, fuck, man, I didn't know him all of last year as we all, as I famously didn't know him last year. It's just a relief to have him now. I mean, what a pleasure to watch he is. Everything goes through him. They get him one-on-one this week with the Titans, I believe, is it? Yep.
Correct. Sunday.
Yep, that's Sunday game. So he'll
final game of the round.
There. Yeah, can't wait to watch him this year. Another couple of guys that Maxi Bryden's kind of mentioned is Finafuiaki and Lemuelu. Lemuelu is kind of interesting. He's $529K. He's not that interesting at that price, I guess. But he's definitely undervalued. Finafuiaki running off Isaiah Katoa, $451K. I don't know. It probably doesn't excite me heaps bringing in a Titans edge, but like, they go good hole runners, running off probably one of the best ball players in the comp. High upside team. Is there something there? I don't know if we're clamoring to.
I my thing is, I just think with Finns is like there's there's too many kind of like good like middles there that like it's just going to get weird with like minute share. There's going to be people rotated in and out, like particularly once you've got JMK back, once you've got Pluff back. Like what, like Pluffy was playing like New South Wales or Queensland Cup last weekend, right? Like
they've got
that's
so much depth in the second row. It's like I don't know how that rotation looks at the moment.
You just like you can't have one of those guys and be confident that they're not going to get glitched once every couple of weeks.
And just as the overarching thought on that, right, and this is no fault of Finny Filiaki's fault, but like a 450K guy at the moment with the cheapies in the second row position versus guns, for me, he's in no man's land. Like, I don't know how I could justify spending 450, 500 on someone at the moment because I'd either be looking to go way higher or way lower. It just feels right now, as opposed to other seasons gone, it's a bit of a dead space. Like I don't really know what I'm doing there.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably happy if you started with him. I mean, it's eyes up. It's probably ends up being a better version than the artist formerly known as Nat the Trap Butcher.
Yeah, I hated that from the start.
Can I ask you, Reese, like a couple ones here from you, mate?
He's just having a good bench, mate.
Jermaine Osako, you're a proud former owner. And
Move on. Move on.
Loved your ownership, mate. Any appetite for him there? Gold kicks?
No, mate. There's not. There's zero appetite for Osaka.
What about Tommy Flegler? Another
as a Flegler truther, I thought he looked really slow and ploddy in his first hit back after 2 years out. Shock horror. Looked great in the trials. PPM was good. Got exposed by Souths. They got sixth again in the core of the earth. He was in quicksand, but his second stint was great. I thought he was looking pretty aggressive and gave it a go. I think he could average 50, be a bit of a slow burn. Probably like Paseka better at that price. Any other final thoughts on that game there, lads?
No.
Mate, how good was Brad Schneider?
Brad Schneider was great. He won't be great
again. That's the Aryan Prince.
A fair, nice, good time here. Any trades this week? Well, what 3 trades are you making this week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that boost has been locked in since Monday at midday. Look, realistically, I'm going to go Atco to Sanders. I think Sanders is him. That's the cheapie I want to be on. Atco looks like a slow burn. Saints attacking upside isn't there. We're going to score fucking maybe 18 points each week and an arm wrestle. I think for me, probably now looking at Nat Butcher down to Noah Martin, assuming that holds. Hamish Stewart being locked in the second row. He gets to stay on my side this week. And my final selection will be Peasant 2 Walker. I can't sit there and not have a high upside 5/8.
I'll jump on mine here, boys, but I'm just going to give you a bit of a context as to why that's what I'm thinking. Otherwise, it doesn't make too much sense, right? Like, if I look at the makeup of my team, mate, I actually think out of the 3 of us, at least early on, I think I've had the best team right now for the cheapies I have, pre-trades, right? If I look at the guys I've got in my team, cheapie-wise, Makasini, Leo, Chester, Fiamani, Sedu2. Now, all of those guys scored above 50. Jonah Pezzett, Dan Atkinson, yeah, fair enough. And then I've also got Hillam Lukey, I've got Lasardi, I've got, Trey Mooney, I've got Flegler. Like, this is such a good year for cash gen where, I want to save trades. I want to be able to be more aggressive at the end of the year. So this year,
nice.
I don't want to push the panic button too soon. The one for me, which was a no-brainer, was being a Jacob Laban owner. That's an easy out. I can actually make money on bringing in Noah Martin in, who's an easy in, right? That's the one that had to be made. The other trades, if I wanted to, the optional trades, as I would see it, is for me, I've already got Cody Walker. Jonah Pezz's not going to go down in cash. So, I don't care. I'm happy to play Walker for the foreseeable future. I could do the Atkinson to Sanders trade. It's just, if I'm talking about my scars from last year, it was these knee-jerk trades so soon. So yep. We've seen 2 games, right? And I also like Dan Atkinson. I don't even know if he's a halfback, but he's a live wire, man. Like, he's around the ball. They versus the Bulldogs. It is so possible that Atkinson this week, even against Storm, could be on the back of a busting Emre Gula. Shout out Emre, first scorer of the year. But
again,
there's a chance that Atkinson gets a scrappy try, he's around the ball enough, and he puts up 60, 70. I don't look at Atkinson like I look at Pezzett. And by the same token, that slice and dice how you want, that is Ethan Strange's team, right? So think most of the ball goes through him. I don't think every week we're expecting that from Sanders. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back down to 35-40 most weeks. So for me, yeah, there could be that slight uptick from the jump. I'm not willing to make that trade. If I see another week this week where Sanders goes 90 and Atkins goes 20, I'll make that trade. But if we see the other way around, I'm thinking, well, what the fuck did I do that for? Like, I'm happy to wait and see on that. The only other thing would be Purdue, if I want to upgrade him to one of the guns, but like, it's fine. I just want to make the one trade this week. I'm saving the boost. I'm saving the, the war chest and
I like
just
it.
the one this week.
Keep one in the chamber.
Yeah.
Last year's scars still.
Last year I relied on Phil Sammy and couldn't get him out. So like, that's enough for me to be a change man.
Reece, you're planning on slamming down a boost in round one. What are you?
Oh man, I've swung the rugby league axe early. Obviously, again, I had one night in Vegas with Lockie Galvin. Thanks for everything, mate. Enjoyed the 81. I won't be calling you back though. I'm going to unleash Adam Dewey at Leichhardt on Saturday Arvo. Jack Williams, mate, it was an honest 59, but I can see you doing 50 to 68. 55 to 68 every week, and that's fine. It's a good option, but not at the price. So you can go for Couchman. And then I will say thank you very much for Atco. I enjoyed it. I don't think you're a bad option. Had a cup of coffee, actually, boys, with Ethan Sanders. I took him up the road there to Cafe Bondi. I said, what would you like? I'll get 2 of mine. And he was a good kid. I had a good chat, but I thought I'll have Tommy Turbo at Brookie on Saturday Arvo, Sunday Arvo instead. So, yeah, I've done Atco to Tommy, and I'll be slapping the C on him and hoping that he doesn't limp around the park at any point. So, yeah, again, I just had to restructure my team. I wanted 3 fullbacks. 7, you set up well. You have 3 fullbacks already. Socko. So, yeah, I just wanted 3 fullbacks in ASAP Rocky, and that was the way I did it because I had Nico and Flex. So that's it. Turbo's my skipper. Yourself? 7? You gonna show your card?
Well, mine's really interesting this week. So I don't know about you boys. I don't have enough, so I can't. My vice captain's irrelevant this week unless I'm missing sometime in here. Without enough, you cannot VC loot, can you? Not possible.
No,
or am I missing something?
I don't think so. Is he going to buy? No doggies.
No, well, maybe Bulldogs have the buy this week. I don't know the Bulldogs player, and like, I'm not getting to some weird type of shit where I'm bringing someone in to do it. Put it this way, if my VC goes for 200 or whatever in an early shot, yeah, maybe I bring a Bulldogs player in. It's a no-brainer. But
yeah,
VC is somewhat irrelevant to a degree. I'll keep you posted if I do something different. But, boys, I've actually got the C strapped on Herbie Farmworth. I think after I enjoyed Missionary last week, I'm prone to a big knee-jerk reaction. And, you look at some of these games.
Speaking of knee-jerk,
that's
the thing about 7 is he hasn't paid his bills. So he lives in Queensland, and they cut the power off at 9 p.m. every night. I think they're behind us, aren't they? Ahead of us?
Yeah, they are. They are at the moment. I mean, Reece, can I get your opinion? Who have you got a cheeky little vice captain action on this week, and do you have enough to do it?
I do. We've got Fletcher Sharp in there. So he plays on Sunday Arvo. So I could easily, obviously, loop through him.
Yep.
Mate, I love that. We've spoken about it. We're probably speaking about it like in the preseason, how much we like the Cows versus Tigers game at Leichhardt.
Boys, how much of that did you get? Because I was on a fucking absolute rant for ages and I realised I'd been boosted out.
Mate,
I was ranting for like a good 2 minutes there.
Unfortunately, we'd heard enough of your flow, and it started becoming incomprehensible.
Yeah. Was I actually? Did you boot me out then, you cunts, or was that?
No, not at all. No, I love a flow.
Let me just come back. I'll recap this one quickly, but I was just kind of saying, if you look at the other games, you've got Rabbits, Roosters. Those 2 teams hate each other. Who the fuck knows? Dragon, Storm, that could be a weird dogfight. Panthers, Sharks. Sharks could be up for that. They're a good team. I haven't got Turbo. I'm not doing Missionary again with Payne. Yeah, it was a nice night, but he didn't call me back. So Dolphins, Titans on a Sunday. Titans suck. Titans are fucking disgraceful. They fucking suck. Dolphins can score points. Mate, there's every chance Dolphins put on 50 in that game. Mate, I'm having signs of Herbie Farnworth versus the Warriors last year where he doesn't do his string. If that's the case, what's the worst I finish on with Herbie realistically that game? 60? what 60 maybe.
Yep.
What's the upside if he can cross over a few and cause havoc against those players? What 150 easy?
Fucking hell. Now, geez, what 1 week of mystery has really got you thinking, hasn't it, mate? I mean,
Yeah,
now
1
you-
week of
now you-
mystery, and I'm back at the fucking Stephen Hooker, mate. So
Mate, he's throwing some Steiner mathematics at us here. Apparently, there's a 33% chance that Herbie's going to go for 150.
If he scores a try, it'll go well.
Yeah, so let's. No, I'm not changing. I'm stuck on Herb.
No, I agree. Oh, mate, if Herbie scores a try, he'll ton up, I reckon.
I heard yours winner, Socko, just for I did miss that due to some connectivity issues. What are you thinking for the
mate?
Well, winner hadn't finished. Yeah, I'll let you.
Sorry, yeah, I was just saying VC wise, it's a toss up between Dwinky and Adam Dewey. You know, in that Saturday Arvo game.
Way, though, just for that,
I'm nuffed up. I've got Fletch, so I can just loop through Fletch. Yeah, it's toss up between AD and Dwinky, but I'm already in enough kittens playing Drinky just by itself, so I can't have the VC on him. So yeah, it's Adam Dewey for me. Sock.
Yeah, mate, I'm going the other way, and this will be one of those famous hills for me to die on, given we're playing a cash league head to head. Mate, I've got the VC on Drinky. I know you're sort of leaning towards Turbo with a C, Brookie. I'm going to go the opposite end of that coin and probably look at Ponga.
Nice.
Similar to you, I've got Fletch to Nuff too because he's injured. The other option is potentially, just in case I get a bit nervous, or AD goes large, could even look at chucking the C on Herbie as well. I don't mind Herbie for a double this weekend. I can see a Herbie ton easily this weekend. I mean, he did 75 in the pouring rain. No fucking attacking stat, apart from a couple of offloads.
He did score a try, but that was a non-offload try.
Yeah, well, there you
Oh,
go.
listen, boys, I'd love nothing
that was
more.
just a fun, unnecessary jab as a fuck you, Sock. I don't know why, but it just felt right.
You know what would really make my weekend, lads, is we're going into Sunday. I've got a head-to-head matchup with the both of you. We're in a dogfight. We're all going to be in dogfights this weekend. I can just feel it. Yeah. We're going into Sunday. Herbie, as your skipper, does 120. You cock a hoop, and then you realise I've got him this year, so it doesn't really hurt me that much. And then I come out on Trops, take a couple of heads, put on a mantelpiece, and say, "Hey, sit down, kids. The king is back. I ain't that washed. The allegations of me being washed were grossly overstated. I came 11th once. That's what I'll be saying this time next week.
Me.
I did that shit. Timmy, reach out. Call me back. Text me back. Answer me.
Timmy, bad reception, Williams. We know you're listening.
Yeah. For round one, lads. We
Is that the closest you've been to pussy in a while, Seven?
One that meant something to me, yeah. One that I didn't have to pay for. Boys, I think that caps us off. I'd just also like to say thanks to the loyal gibberers. A lot of the familiar faces that I've seen tonight pop up in the YouTube comments are a lot of the boys that we obviously chat to in the group chat. So depending on how bad, my gambling hangovers are, Socks, anxiety from all these multis he puts on over the weekend, counting tackles and Reese's gummies. We'll try and make this a weekly thing, but we'll see you cunts at Magic Round regardless.
Well said, Sock. Any final bits of wisdom? Cut a pipe bomb.
Look, mate, Rome wasn't built in a day. Your Supercoach victory gang wasn't built in one round. Guys, it's a long season. There's plenty more dribble to come out of us idiots if you'll listen, if you'll bend the ear, so to say. Look, I just hope everyone has fun and everyone gets fucked up this weekend, because that's exactly where you and me are going to be, Reece, is I'm going to take you in the deep end into an absolute dogfight of our own, and we'll see who sees sunrise on Monday morning.
Listen, we don't win on the field. We will certainly win off it. Much love to everyone. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.
See you next week, guys.
Good luck this weekend. See you later. See you later.